The Warriors are worth $7 billion. How's your day going, Joe Lacob? My goodness. They have a 25% year-over-year increase. 25% year-over-year is an absurd number. Most everybody in sports, you're lucky if you see a double-digit increase, 10, 12%, something like that. To be 25%, my God, that is a huge number. And let's be honest, if they're worth $7 billion on paper, on an actual open market, what's the number actually get to? Like if the for sale sign went up today on Chase Center, what are they actually getting? It's remarkable. It's one of the biggest turnarounds I think we have ever seen. It's not even a turnaround. It's not even a turnaround. It's something that couldn't exist, and now it does. The Warriors have knocked off the Lakers and the Knicks as the most valuable NBA franchise. It's the first time any team has knocked off one of those two teams in about 2-3 decades. So something else, in the Miami Heat are in town tonight. It is officially Rams week. We got our friend Jorge Sedano. He's going to join us coming up in just a little bit here. Damon and Ratto, 95.7 The Game. How are you, Pookie?
I'm not worth $7 billion, and my name's not Pookie.
If you would sell those naming rights, though, that'd be how you get your first bill. Can't get to 7 without getting that first bill.
Yeah, well, I'll die comfortable in knowing that I'll not get to the first bill.
We're not going to make it. But maybe the station will be worth a bill now that we have some merchandise to sell. Have you seen the new 95.7 The Game merchandise, right? It's focused basically on you.
No, it's not. I'm quite sure it's not. There is one thing I saw, but I really am not going to mention it on air.
Hey. Well, the fact that you could mention it on air means that you have turned your microphone on. So we're halfway there.
That's not what I'm talking about.
To mentioning it. Oh, is it coming?
No.
Is it happening?
It's already happened.
Will there be maximum football before this day is over?
There better not be.
Ooh. We have an awful lot to get into, though, because it is a big game coming up for the 49ers. And look, if you are a Niner fan, it's just as simple as this. You got to hope that the ownage formula that Kyle has over the Rams just holds up again this week. Of all the regular season ownage that Kyle Shanahan has, it feels like this week's game would just be the wrong week to see a reverse in that trend. You do not want to lose to the LA Rams this weekend. You do not want to be 3-5 once again. You don't. You don't. So, big game. Very big game. Some people are trying to make a big deal, Ray, out of where the 49ers are and the minutes that they're handing out. I did a podcast today.
You mean the Warriors?
Yes, the Warriors.
I thought you said the 49ers.
Oh, excuse me. I meant...
You confused me.
I confused myself, obviously. Everyone's talking about minutes galore. Minutes galore. Calm down. It's the 5th game of the year. Can you think back to a single championship season that the Warriors have put up? And they put up quite a few of those lately. Can you think back to a single championship season where anything that you saw established in the 5th game of that year's regular season really translated to mattering in the postseason?
Well, more to the point.
Or is it just another point?
No, well, it's a second point because the answer to your point is no.
Exactly.
But the other point is, why is minutes a crisis? You get what you earn. That's been the message on this team for years. And if you're unhappy with Jonathan Kuminga's minutes, then the solution is clear. He needs to be better. It's not about gifting anybody minutes. We went through this with James Wiseman 2 years ago. It's, hey, they got a draft choice I'm interested in. They ought to give him 30 minutes a game just because he shows up. It's not how it works with Steve Kerr. It's not how it works with any good team. You earn what you get. And if you don't earn it, you don't get it.
And the thing is, if you haven't earned it in the first 5 games, it doesn't mean that you won't. We are not on some trajectory of player truth that'll be a linear straight line to who anyone is. That didn't happen for Jordan Poole. It's not happening for James Wiseman. It certainly didn't happen for Steph Curry. It didn't happen for Andrew Wiggins. The only guy who's basically been like the same guy since pretty much day one is Klay Thompson. Like, Klay showed up and just hit a lot of threes and played an awful lot of defense, and he just wants to get back there. But the linear, nothing ever changes. This is the trajectory. It won't be altered. It's just enough. It's enough. So people need to calm down just a little bit.
They need to calm down a lot, but they won't. So,
well, that's why we're here. We are here to make a better, more rational, more functioning sports fan. In
other words, we are here to spit up a rope.
We are failing miserably in our jobs, but we will continue to try earnestly to make everyone just calm down. Calm down. Game 5 of an NBA season for a team that is built like this, that is leading the NBA in scoring essentially before the Milwaukee Bucks put up their huge number on the Nets last night. So just relax. There's a lot to still play out here. If the Warriors honestly reach the postseason healthy and with Andrew Wiggins playing like NBA Finals Andrew Wiggins of last year, they're going to be in really good shape just based on those two things alone. Will the bench matter? Of course it will. Do younger players have to start pulling their rope defensively more than they are right now? Of course it will. Does this team have to actually find its pace? Yes, it does. Bob Myers, he said it's real simple. They don't even know who they really are yet. It doesn't mean they don't understand who they might be, but not really knowing who they are right now this early in the season is not an admission that anything is wrong.
It's an acknowledgement that they're doing something weird and risky simultaneously, which is trying to build the 2024 team while you're just getting the 2022 team together. And the insanity of trying to make those two things sort of mesh at once is one of the things that I think Warrior fans will find very distressing for a long time. Because at some point you have to abandon the notion that the 20-year-olds need to get their jobs now. Because they don't. Their jobs are play 7 minutes a game or play 13 minutes a game or play 20 minutes a game as long as you can hold those minutes. That's the Darwinian nature of all sports. It's you get to play as much as you earn. And good teams figure out who should have those minutes. Bad teams don't. And that's the difference.
Bob Myers today with Steiny and Goo.
What do I know? The starting unit's pretty good. They're good. They have proven to be good. Klay will get back to where he was at the end of last season. I believe that. Draymond's already playing pretty well. Looney's Looney. Steph looks in great shape out of the gates. Wiggins has played really well. Poole is a sixth guy. So now what after that? And I don't know. And nobody knows. So we got to see what happens from six guys on, because none of them have really proven it yet with our team. And so we'll find out, Matt, but I can't say when that'll be.
Andre Iguodala, by the way, says that he is tracking to joining the Warriors as a player soon enough, but when that actually might be, he's not coming off that information. We will have some sound from Andre Iguodala. Steve Kerr joined us yesterday. We'll revisit that in some sound bites. There's some things to go over there. And what else we got going on today? We're a day closer to the World Series. Did you remember that it was even baseball's postseason? That's kind of a problem that baseball needs to address when their ALCS and their NLCS end so early. Is there anything they could do? I think, Ray, last week we agreed there's really nothing they can do because moving around a World Series is a logistical nightmare. But I thought about it. I ruminated for a day or two. I have a suggestion to throw against the wall, and then you'll tell me why I'm wrong, I'm sure.
No, I won't tell you why you're wrong. I'll tell you why they don't do it.
Well, I think I know why they don't do it. I'm offering a possible solution that would allow them to do it, because you don't want your viewers scattering away like roaches while they're waiting for something to start because they had to wait so long because the last thing ended so early. So we're going to get into that. NFL Week 8 officially starts tonight. I got a stat on Tom Brady that just shows really how unbelievable he has been. On the Xfinity Mobile text line, somebody says, are you ready for another field goal fest tonight? It's Thursday Night Football. We could absolutely be in the works for that. I'm going to tell you right now, I need Lamar Jackson to have himself a big game tonight because basically my fantasy team is its bench this week. So while Warriors fans are worried about their bench, I'm worried about my fantasy bench. And that, I swear to you, will be the last thing you hear about my fantasy football team because nobody cares and no one wants to hear about it. We have quite a bit to get into today. Someone wants to know, Ray, are you cutting coupons? Remember, they can watch us. They're watching you.
Well, I'm cutting what I want to cut.
Are you trimming coupons?
No.
No? 2 for 1, beef and cheddars, Arby's for everybody?
I think we've established no.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to find out what you might be working. A little arts and craft for Halloween? You putting together a Halloween costume?
I've already got the gun turrets in place.
Are you going to wear a Halloween costume
No.
to the show tomorrow?
Absolutely not.
Oh, I thought for sure you'd be in the spirit of Halloween.
I am in the spirit of Halloween. The house will be dark. I will be watching baseball. I will not answer the door. There will be no candy for anyone.
There is a contest on Monday, Ray. Best costume wins the $100 gift card.
To where?
To our merch shop.
To a merch shop? Can we get Ray? Can we get Ray shirts about Ray that he'll hate?
No,
Is there an employee discount that any of us can enjoy? That's the question.
We may get 1 or 2 for the show just so you guys can promote it on YouTube and Twitch, but we'll see. That's TBD.
Get an extra medium for Ray. Let's just have him in here.
Schmedium?
Yeah, a schmedium. Schmedium's for everyone.
You live in optimism's world.
Hey,
nobody on this show's wearing a medium.
I'm an optimistic guy. Maybe with a little work. Maybe with a little effort. Maybe with some starvation and months of running. We can be mediums one day. It is good to have you here. We got Jorge Sedano joining us next. He is a man from Los Angeles who came to Los Angeles from Miami. So he is a man who knows about the heat as well. It's a perfect time to have Jorge Sedano on. He joins us next here on 95.7 The Game. It's Damon and Ratto. And you can watch us on YouTube. You can watch us on Twitch. You can listen to us right here on your radio because that's how radio works.
In Berkeley, mostly clear overnight, lows in the high 40s.
Weather brought to you by Pfizer and BioNTech. This fall, there are now updated COVID-19 booster shots designed for recent Omicron variants. Learn more and schedule your updated booster at vaccines.gov.
Hey, you like 95.7 The Game, right?
Yep.
Then you'll love our brand new merch store.
I think I got my swagger back.
We've got custom t-shirts, long sleeves, and hoodies with your favorite quotes from the show.
Can we just put the rat on the table?
Check it out at 957thegameshop.com. That's 957thegameshop.com.
Tune in to 95.7 The Game for Warriors Live, 60 minutes before tip-off of every Warriors game. Brought to you by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.
O'Reilly. See better and drive safer with Rain-X Advantage wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, purchase a pair of Rain-X Advantage wiper blades and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate, plus 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for just $49.99 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Offer ends 12/5/2022. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable based on Root Metrics US report. Results vary, not an endorsement.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention Marines, military personnel, families, and contractors who were stationed at Camp Lejeune. Were you present at Camp Lejeune between August 1953 and December of 1987? You may be entitled to significant compensation. For nearly 34 years, those in the Marine Corps' base Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's Parkinson's disease, and more. North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve, but passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file lawsuits seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-490-8291. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-490-8291. That's 800-490-8291. Again, 800-490-8291.
UCSF Sports Medicine Center is dedicated to treating every type of athlete, from kids to adults, amateurs to elite professionals. As one of the best orthopedic programs in the nation, UCSF has programs to optimize an athlete's performance and the latest advancements to treat the most complex sports injuries. With locations throughout the Bay Area, now including Marin, Walnut Creek, and Redwood Shores, it's even easier to make an appointment today. Visit ucsfhealth.org so you can get cleared to play. UCSF Health, redefining possible.
Kirby is your driveway mechanic. They bring the shop to you with brake replacements, oil changes, washes, and so much more. Get $50 off your first oil change with code OIL50 at Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com and use code OIL50.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Staples.
So, rumor has it that Staples has everything I need to ship.
That's not a rumor. We have all the shipping supplies and services you need.
Boxes?
Yep.
Mailers?
Yep.
And I can actually ship there, right?
We have UPS right here in store.
Huh. What will Staples think of next?
Right?
No, seriously, I'm asking, what will they think of next?
Staples has all your shipping supplies and UPS service in store. And right now, get 25% off UPS Express shipping services. Staples, the best kept secret in shipping. Ends 12/31. Valid only in Staples U.S. stores.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
We're all on this planet together. So join Odyssey and find your one thing. Now that it's autumn, check window and door seals for proper insulation and replace your furnace air filter. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game.
So we're going to have George Sedano joining us in just a little bit, and Ray and I were, talking about, hey, what are we going to ask George about? Obviously, he's all over the L.A. Rams since he is based in L.A. We've got to ask him about the Rams. We'll open with the Rams. And I said, he used to work in Miami, so we'll talk a little bit about the Warriors and Heat tonight. And Ray was like, and we cannot forget the Lakers. Oh, my gosh. LeBron James is 0-4 for the first time since his rookie year. And last night, during the middle of the Lakers game that I watched for just a little bit, and then I was like, get it off. It's unwatchable. I saw the stat that through 3 games, they had the worst three-point shooting percentage in the history of basketball. So that's the start that the Lakers are off on. Ugh. It's glorious.
Yeah, they're horrifying. It's not the worst start ever, just because early on in the three-point world, teams were very reluctant to shoot, so you had some really low percentages. But since the three became a thing in maybe like 2010, it's clearly the worst.
It's bad. It's really, really bad. They've got... What I think is the most amazing thing is that Rob Pelinka literally had 2 examples of how you build a champion around LeBron, and he's ignored so thoroughly those 2 examples. You basically put shooters around that guy, and that guy can win you a title. They have no shooters around that guy, and their defensive principles right now make the Golden State Warriors' struggling defense look like the 1985 Chicago Bears.
But more to the point.
Or is it another point?
No, it's more to the point. I thought about it this time.
Okay.
It's the fact that they don't mind the fact that they shoot poorly, because they shoot a lot. I mean, I just looked it up. They're like 8th in the league in threes attempted. It's like, the law of big numbers will take care of it. At some point, we have to get hot. Shooters shoot. Yes, but you don't have any shooters.
Right.
That's the problem.
Keyword, shooters shoot.
Yeah, and it's not just Rob Pelinka who did this. It's the brain trust above him, and it's the most expensive player below him, because he's the one who wanted Russell Westbrook, and he's the one who has an unusual amount of say in what the roster is and who's on it. So it's genuinely a team effort. There are guys who can't shoot, there are guys who can't spot shooters, and there are guys who can't attract them. And they've all come together in one happy place.
What you're saying is you're impressed with all of it.
It's a staggering pyramid of garbage.
We've got George Sedano from ESPN, our man in Los Angeles, joining us in just a bit. Real quick, though, let's say hello to Steven in San Jose. Hello, Steven. What do you got?
Hey, how's it going, guys? On the last show, they were talking about Kyle Shanahan, and someone called in saying he needs to go. And I just want to know what you two thought about Andy Reid not getting a Super Bowl for so long and still being considered an offensive genius. And if people remember the Singletary and Chip Kelly days, I'll listen off there.
Well, do you remember when everyone said that Phil Mickelson was the best guy who had never won a major until he won a major, and then no one could say that about Phil anymore? I mean, I do think that that's the world that Andy Reid lived in for a while, where he was this, offensive mastermind who just could not put together a Super Bowl team. The fact that he knocked on the door so many times in so many NFC title game appearances also led to Andy falling into that level of who hasn't done it yet conversation. When you're on a lot of majors leaderboards at the end, but you never win them, Colin Montgomery, you get stuck with those things. But then you win one, and no one can ever say that about you again, and that's why Kyle's, I'm sure, desperate to win one.
Well, the more specific complaint about Reid was that he didn't handle clock situations late in playoff games.
He didn't.
And
it was a fair criticism, by the way.
I think it was, and it's the reason why when I hear criticisms of Kyle Shanahan, I wait for the specificity that can't be disputed, and I almost never hear it. You can make a quibble about that 8-minute drive in the Atlanta game. Maybe he doesn't have the kind of urgency in situations like that maybe he should. But there aren't a lot of examples of that. So it makes me wonder, okay, well then, why would he choose to do that unless you think he's unaware of the game situation? And I don't think he ever is. I think he makes choices based on what the best percentage is for the roster he's got. And I think ultimately what you end up realizing is that he's a better coach than he is a general manager. That's the problem, because this team offensively kind of doesn't fit yet. And last year he had to create a running back out of a wide receiver to make that offense run. I don't know what his move is this year. Maybe it's McCaffrey. But the fact is he's still way better than average as a coach. And he doesn't have to go. And in fact, if you're waiting for him to go, you may well reach retirement.
One of the things that we talked about yesterday is it's basically unfathomable to think that he will be asked to exit stage left before 2024. So at the very, very least, he is the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers through 2024. 2025 is his last year as this team's head coach under the contract which he's operating right now. So, I would think that a lame duck year out of Kyle Shanahan wouldn't be something that the Niners would want, that he would want. It would be an indication that things weren't going very well over the next remainder of this year and following 2 years. But 2024, 2025 is when we're going to be circling back to what do you do with Kyle? And depending on what he does with Trey Lance in the post-Jimmy Garoppolo era, or the Jimmy Garoppolo era still continues, there's so many moving parts still to this team, which prides itself on continuity and an awful lot of things that should generate more of an offense than they have right now. To talk about Niners and Rams, who, this is a matchup that has favored Kyle, with the exception of the single biggest game in this matchup since Kyle and McVay became head coaches in the NFC title game. With all that is the Rams coming up on the horizon, and with the Heat in town, and with some Lakers questions, we're very happy to welcome back from ESPN Radio down in L.A., George Sedano, one of our favorites. Let's just start with, how's the back, brother? I heard it went out a couple weeks ago.
Oh, man, it was brutal. And then, of course, I'm an idiot. That should be it doesn't need to be said at this point. But nonetheless, I am an idiot, even more so than I thought, because a week later, I'm feeling okay. It's still probably like 75%. And my kids are like, Dad, can we go shoot some hoops? And can we hit the ball at the ballpark? And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Whatever. Like, I'm fine. And about halfway through that, I started to regret it tremendously, because then it lasted about another week because I just kind of re-injured myself. But other than that, I'm great now.
The aging process, freaking relentless. She truly is.
But I will say this. You have just realized that you've been given your free out the next time the kids want to go out and play and you don't want to. And if you don't use that roughly 200 times a year, they'll never believe you again.
So at least you got that going for you.
Yeah, it's a chronic injury now, kids. That's the reality of it.
So, look, let's just start with the Rams, who are, like the Niners, not off to the start that I think a lot of people expected them to start with. Cam Akers, what the hell happened there? Explain it to me.
It seems like him and Sean McVay just were not on the same page by any stretch of the imagination. And look, this is just hearsay at this point, so it's not me with a firm, hard report. But there's plenty of rumblings about this that Cam, that is, and him didn't see eye to eye just based on things like preparation, how serious he was potentially taking the game plan. That stuff is out there, so it's not like I'm, giving out government secrets. But from what I've heard, that sounds right, that they just were not seeing eye to eye on how serious he needs to take the game and the game plan from a week-to-week basis.
Well, they're not your secrets to keep, so I'm glad you blurted them out. But beyond that, how long was that a problem? Because he did seem to last a long time on that roster after his position as the lead running back seemed to fade.
Yeah, look, that first rookie season, he kind of came on the scene and burst out quickly, and then unfortunately had the injury issue that next offseason. They needed him in their run to the Super Bowl. They needed anybody they could get their hands on at that point, just because they wanted some semblance of a running game. He came back sooner than anticipated, which I thought, first of all, was an incredible athletic feat, number one, but I did question how smart that was for him personally. And I don't know if that played a factor in it at all, because it does feel like going into this season, it never felt like he really regained the explosion he had previously. And again, no one was expecting that to be the case when he came back in the postseason run. But certainly this year, I think people felt like, hey, well, we'll see the Cam Akers of old, who we saw as a rookie, really make an impact. And that didn't seem to materialize either. So I think that he lasted that long just based on just the initial impression. And I think because they really felt that he was an athletic phenom, and I think they gave him every chance to try to kind of work through whatever issues they had.
George Sedano here on 95.7 The Game. So based on Cam Akers' declining stock, how hard were they knocking on the Panthers' door for Christian McCaffrey? And what do you think of the haul that the Niners ended up giving to get that deal done?
Well, I know they were definitely knocking down very hard on that door. And it basically boiled down to an extra fourth-round pick, I believe, that the Niners gave up. And I guess the Panthers really had no interest in Cam Akers at that point either, because that was also part of the equation. And if I recall correctly, that really was the difference between the two offers that were put on the table for the most part. And yeah, look, I think as far as the Niners are concerned, I'm a big believer in you give what you got to give up if you feel like you can win it, because the windows in professional sports are so freaking small, and they're always smaller than we even anticipate. So I think because of that you have to go for it when you have a chance. And I think the Niners did what they needed to do. Like, I had no issue with what they gave up.
Is there a level of irony in the fact that the Rams don't get Christian McCaffrey because Les Snead valued a fourth-round draft choice too much?
I would imagine there is some irony to that for sure. But I do think, though, while his strategy is F them picks, I think at some point you don't want to be like a worse version of the Mike Ditka Saints who gave up a whole draft for Ricky Williams, where you may not have any picks at any point. So I think that they need to kind of stock the cupboard a little bit. And they've done a nice job when they've actually had picks to make. So it is fascinating that they do not value them the way they do. But, again, it got them a Super Bowl, so I guess at the end of the day, it's all worth it.
Hey, George, we're going to get a version of the NBA Finals that might have been in the multiverse with the Miami Heat in town to take on the Warriors tonight. Warriors got valued at $7 billion, my goodness, from Forbes today, putting them in front of the Knicks and Lakers, really the only other team that has ever knocked the Knicks and Lakers off that one line in the last 20, 30 years in terms of NBA valuation. It's amazing how the Warriors' fortunes have risen to just an ungodly level. And at the same time, a team that you're also around all the time in LA sees the Lakers, obviously retaining franchise value, but my goodness, their 0-4 start is about as helpless an 0-4 as I think we see in basketball.
Before we get to the Lakers, though, can we just all agree that while Chase Center is really nice, the real reason they're valued at $7 billion is because of Raymond Ritter, right?
Raymond will tell you that for sure.
Their PR man extraordinaire.
You need something from him, don't you?
What's that?
Ray asked if you need something from him because this is a good way to go about getting it.
No. I texted him the other day. Funny story, quick side note. So my 8-year-old daughter is starting to really get into basketball. And so I said to her, last year, I'm like, so are you going to pick a team to root for? Because my wife grew up here in L.A., she's a Lakers fan. I obviously grew up in Miami. I have a lot of long relationships with the Heat. And she's been to a bunch of, Laker games and Heat games over the years in different cities and here in L.A. And we're sitting there watching the Warriors Suns, and she goes, Dad, I think I've made my decision. And I'm like, what is it? She's like, I want to be a Warriors fan. I'm like, all right, cool. We'll rock that. So it's funny. I did send Raymond a text, and I said, you have a new fan. So I said, next time I'm at Chase Center to do a game, we may have to put an extra seat between you and me. So he thought that was great. But to answer your Lakers question, this thing's a mess, man. Like, there's really no other way to describe it. And people can blame LeBron for the Westbrook thing, but that's now a year ago. Okay? Like, you had a chance to just erase that mistake in some way, shape, or form. And they chose not to because they wanted to extract more value out of the transaction. And whether you believe that Kyrie was really on the table and Joe Harris was really on the table or not, look, I happen to think that there probably was a moment in time where they didn't think Kevin Durant was coming back to the Nets and that thing was going to completely implode. And the Lakers might have had an opportunity and they didn't pull the trigger, right? And then there's obviously the Indiana deal with Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. And Indiana, and anyone, by the way, is going to exact what I like to call the Lakers tax and say, hey, you got those 2 picks. You want to get rid of Russ so bad? You need to give them both to us. And I get not wanting to give up 2 first-rounders for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, particularly Miles Turner because he's a free agent next year. And, Buddy Hield's a nice player, but it's not like he's some sort of difference maker. So they're between a rock and a hard place, man. And Rob Pelinka has done a really bad job this offseason. They went from an AARP team last year with all the old guys to an AAU team this year where it's just too many young guys and not enough shooting in a sport that's evolved to the point where you need that spacing on the floor. And they don't have any of it, and they're doing it at historically bad proportion.
Let me ask this, since you brought up Rob Pelinka. How much freedom of action does he really have as the general manager there, or is it a matter of too many spoons in the pot?
So, Ray, there was a time where I feel like he had autonomy, or at least enough autonomy where he could kind of position himself the way he wanted on specific moves. I think now, and he's actually said this openly, where they're a collaborative situation there. And I get him in this situation saying to himself on any of these moves, saying, wait, if I'm the only one that's willing to give up both these picks for whatever it is we want to deal for, I'm not putting myself on that island, because if I'm on that island, I'm the first one to get, pushed into the water and fed to the sharks. So I get it, self-preservation 101. He doesn't want to go against the grain. But unfortunately, no matter what, he's going to be the person that's going to be on the chopping block, because they already used Frank Vogel as a meat shield and got him, pushed out the door when, look, and I like Darvin Ham, but I don't think it was Frank Vogel's fault that they were bad last year. And he's now the next in line. He has put a bullseye on himself after Vogel got dismissed. So that's the situation. And to elaborate even further, Ray, I know that Sam Amick wrote this recently in The Athletic, that the younger Buss brothers, Joey and Jesse, who have run the G League team and also run the drafts for them for many years now, have kind of gotten a larger voice in the room. And if I had to guess, and this is just purely speculation on my part, they probably have some say on those draft picks that they haven't given up.
George Sedano covers the NBA for ESPN down in L.A. doing radio, but as he said already, he knows the Heat like the back of his hand all the time he spent in Miami, his original hometown. With the Heat here tonight, let me just ask you, what do you think the Warriors are looking at? Because this is a Heat team. Bam hasn't exactly come out of the starting blocks the way he wanted to. Kyle Lowry had a good game last night as they sent Portland to the loss column for the first time this season. Duncan Robinson, hard to find, getting minutes for him right now. What do you think Eric Spoelstra's biggest concern is stepping into a year after overachieving so much last year?
I think that they're trying to figure out what they've got, particularly at the power forward position. And Caleb Martin had a nice game yesterday, and I think they like him. He certainly was a really good player for them off the bench last year, good defender, shot the ball well, can get to the basket. He's a nice role player, especially at his price tag at $7 million. But I don't know if he's a starting power forward, and I don't know if they know if he's a starting power forward, but they're going to kind of play that for now. And I think they're just kind of trying to see what they have with the rest of that roster. Can these guys continue to elevate? Can Tyler Hero elevate more? And offensively, he has, but can he defend, which is really what they need him to do? Can Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, and those type of guys, can they take their games up another notch? So far, Strus looks like he has. And, Gabe's played all right. He's played to kind of his norms. And can Bam take another leap? To your point, that hasn't been the case. He kind of got a lot of garbage points at the end of the game yesterday. But the other thing is they haven't played kind of their style of defense, which they've been known for basically since Pat Riley was there, started there in 1995. At least the first couple of games, you didn't see that. You did see it last night. They seemed to defend yesterday. So I think between that and just kind of Kyle Lowry getting, I guess, more acclimated to the situation. He had moments last year in the regular season where I thought he looked great. So I think they're just still trying to kind of figure it out. And they drafted this kid in the first round, Nikola Jovic, not to be confused, obviously, with the two-time MVP, who they threw out there for a couple of minutes yesterday. And he looked like what you would think a 19-year-old would look like, a little bit like a chicken with his head cut off. And kind of running around. He picked up 5 fouls. But despite all that, he didn't look terrible, and he certainly can space the floor, and he's a decent ball handler for a guy at 6'10". I think they like him long-term. I'm just curious to see if they give him more opportunities during this road trip. But I just think ultimately, back to my original point, there's still a team kind of feeling it out a little bit, and that's kind of always been Spo's way. He likes to tinker those first 15 or 20 and then kind of settle into something.
George, good to talk some NBA with you. I know you're going to be back on our TVs tomorrow night. We got Sideline for Pelicans Suns. That's a sexy game, man. I mean, it really is. That should be an up and down game. Is Zion feeling good? Is he going?
He's questionable right now, and I agree with you. On paper, it should be fantastic, even despite the fact that Brandon Ingram is out with a concussion. I still think the Pelicans are really, really impressive. And the Suns, a lot of chatter about are they going to fall off, all the stuff that happened after that Game 7 against the Mavs. I was there for the game against the Mavs on their opening night, and that was pretty electric stuff there in that second half, and they obviously did a nice job against the Warriors the other night.
Yeah, they just put the beating on them pretty good. When are your duties bringing you back to Chase? Do you know that far ahead in advance?
No, I do have you guys on the road in Phoenix, though, in a couple of weeks. But I don't have anything, at least. We have our schedules through the first week of January. And all I got was a preseason appearance at Chase this year. So I don't know. I don't know when I'll be back, hopefully after the turn of the calendar.
Maybe you stop pestering Raymond Ritter for stuff, and maybe you get in more often.
Maybe he's got more pull than I do at my own shop, as far as getting those assignments. So,
George, when you do get back up here, let us know in advance, man. We'd love to see you.
Will do, man, for sure. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much. George Sedano, ESPN, one of the nice guys out there in a world where not everybody who works in sports is a really good guy. Sedano is a really, really good guy. We thank him for stopping on by. We went over a lot of things there. When we come on back, open lines for sure at 888-957-9570. And just in time for Halloween, the Warriors' newest two-headed monster. Ooh, that's a tease, boys and girls. Damon and Ratto here on 95.7 The Game, brought to you by Fremont Bank, full-service banking, no compromises.
Your most valuable asset is your time. So why should buying a car eat up your whole day? At BMW of Fairfield, we value your time as much as you do. So once you've decided on your next car and how you want to buy it, we'll have you behind the wheel of your ultimate driving machine and on your way home within 1 hour. There is a better way. Experience it for yourself at BMW of Fairfield. One price, one person, 1 hour.
This is Chris Hodge from TakingVegas.com, and we are 11-3 on weeknight pro football games after our easy winner between Chicago and New England Monday night with the over. Tonight, we have our one and only Thursday night game of the year for free on the hottest recorded hotline in the country, Baltimore, Tampa Bay. Call 888-9-WIN now. That's 888-994-6669. This Thursday night football game of the year is guaranteed by the next 30 days of our service. It is absolutely free, and it's on a recorded message. 888-9-WIN now is the number to call. That's 888-994-6669. If you are looking to start your football weekend with the easiest winner that could be, we got it for you tonight for free. Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Thursday night football, one and only game of the year. 888-9-WIN now is the number to call. 888-994-6669.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same. But at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No. Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Are you interested in new career opportunities in the Bay Area and want to make a difference in your community? The SF Sheriff's Office is looking for people considering a job in law enforcement right now. If you're at least 20 years or older with a high school diploma or equivalent, the SF Sheriff's Office wants to hear from you. Enjoy full benefits, flexible schedules, and opportunities for growth and promotion. For employment announcements and more information, visit sfsheriff.com. That's sfsheriff.com to apply today.
Hey, this is Kenny Mayne, host of something called Hey Mayne. That's a podcast. We're working busily on season 2, but let's not forget about season 1. Remember Roy Wood Jr.?
Wow, opening for Ron White. I've arrived. He's such a nice man. Maybe he wants a ride. Maybe he wants me to drop him off at the American Airlines terminal. Roy, I have a private jet. My pilot hangs with me like my homeboy.
If you missed that episode of Hey Mayne, check it out on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
O'Reilly! Cleaning your fuel system can help your engine run better and improve gas mileage. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts and pick up a bottle of Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner on sale now. Buy one, get one free, plus double O rewards points. Get more fuel-saving tips from the professional parts people at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game.
Merch. There is merch. You can find station merch. 957thegameshop.com. Check it all out. I wouldn't call it a wide array, not yet, but I know new things will be added. What, daily, hourly, seasonally? I'm excited. I know Ray is too. I can feel it. Just feel it coming off of you. Merch. Sell some merch, Ray. Sell some merch for the station.
Yeah, buy stuff.
There you go. It's a good commercial. Buy stuff.
Well, that's what every commercial is. It's essentially, it's a documentary about capitalism.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's like hanging out with Michael Moore over here. Documentaries on capitalism. It's good stuff.
Well, what is an ad other than that?
Yeah, it's a call to action.
Yeah, it's whining for your money.
Go spend a little money. Do it with us.
Yeah.
The good people, the good guys. Yeah. Look at it this way. If this is capitalism, maybe some of that gets to us one day.
Really?
I don't know.
There are a wall of people at Odyssey in New York who are going to see to it that doesn't happen.
Stand in the way of our profits. I mean, come on, you're using my intellectual property, or have I already signed that away to the state? I think I signed that away.
Oh, that's gone.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Ray, what if I told you could make some money off of what you hate the most? What if I told you there was an opportunity to maybe make a little money off something that you detest so much that I dare not play it because it bothers you so? But what if I told you could become rich via
Maximum Football!
Would you make that deal
I'll
with
tell
your
you what. I'll tell you what. Every time you play that, give me $100. I'll be okay with it.
Capitalist overlords?
Yeah. But they're not making money off this either. You're just doing it to piss me off.
A little.
No, a lot.
A touch.
Yeah.
Well, the kids also love it, too. You mean, you got to. You got to go ahead and give the kids what they want. The kids want some maximum football. And look, they're going to get it. NFL Week 8 officially starts tonight. Kind of an interesting stat in play tonight, Thursday Night Football. We know we've gotten some real dogs in this game. 4-3 Ravens at the 3-4, starting to get a little desperate. Tampa Bay Buccaneers tonight. All eyes are on the decline of Tom Brady, if it's actually happening. How about this? A Tom Brady-led team has never been under 500 8 weeks into an NFL season. And if they lose tonight, the Bucs are 3-5. If they win tonight, they'll get back to 500, and Tom Brady's never been under 500 after Week 8 continues. But if it's Ravens, Tom is not having the graceful exit that I think he was maybe hoping for.
Yeah, he's spending a lot of time being badgered by TMZ about shouting matches with the wife now. So
that's got to go over well.
Oh, yeah. He's got to be pleased. But here's a stat that actually you can make some money on. In his last 12 primetime games, Tom Brady is 2-10 against the spread.
Ooh, a trend, if you will.
At 12 games, yeah.
Okay.
So, fade the public.
Fade the public. Fade the Brady in a primetime game. Again, he's getting older, so it means he's missing his early bird special at the Villages.
And in fairness, fading the Brady, and he's getting older. Those aren't, I mean, you need to fade the Brady, and he was getting older about a decade ago. He's past getting older. He's old.
He's old. This is Big Dave in San Leandro. What's going on, Big Dave? How are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? Ratto, I wish you didn't just bring up that stat because now I'm tempted to throw some money down in the game, and I can't do that because I had a parlay that would have hit if the Patriots didn't choke. My goodness. Anyways, that's not what I'm calling about. I'm calling about the Warriors. Specifically, the report that came out in terms of how much they're worth, right? Anthony Slater, I think the Morning Roast talked about it this morning. I've been trying to get some feedback from one of you guys on the station in terms of, come on, man, like the Warriors, let's take a step back. If the Warriors didn't win the championship, if the Warriors weren't great, how much would they be worth today? Obviously, not as much. The reason why they're valued as much and people are buying all these seats and special whatever is because they're winning. So I'm just saying, like, if I negotiate as part of my job for a living. I'm telling you right now, Joe Lacob coming out and saying how much they're willing to spend, Draymond coming out asking for a max extension, it's all negotiating. At the end of the day, if the Warriors win the championship again this year, it's all going to stay together because the Warriors need that. The Warriors will continue to make money if they win. If they don't win and they go back to that, not even making it to the play-in tournament, I'm sure they'll still be worth some money, but they're not going to be worth as much. So for the short term, I would expect Joe Lacob to actually pay more. I don't expect Draymond to get a max, but I'm sure he'll pull a Spurs move and get something, friendly a bit. But why not pay the money if you're going to continue to be as valuable as you are? And I get it. It's not liquid cash at the moment, but as an investment, come on, you got to spin to win. So I just think it's all negotiating. Joe Lacob just putting it out there. Draymond's coming in with the max, and everyone's going to be in the middle, and the Warriors will stay connected if they win the chip again.
Well, we know this.
Comes down to.
We know this, Big Dave. We have not seen the number that Joe Lacob will not meet. We have not met that number yet. He has floated that there is a threshold which he will not cross. But again, he's only floated that. And whatever that number was that he would not cross yesterday has moved based on today's valuation. You would think it just has to. And that one title added, and I don't know how much of it was just the one title or the new media deal or just Chase Center being open in a world that is just moving on from the pandemic, so tickets are getting sold and concerts are selling out and they're open for business, 300 nights a year now at Chase Center. But a 25% increase year over year is an absurd number. That's absurd.
The one thing,
it's more than just a championship. I mean, it really.
No, it's because they were talking about generating the most revenue after paying their revenue sharing check, and this comes from the Forbes story by Kurt Badenhauser, and Mike Ozanian. I'm sorry, Kurt Badenhauser's.
Get it right.
No, it's the revenue is far beyond what the Warriors take in when they open the gates. It's about the sponsorship deals that they've had running for several years now. It's not just this championship. It's the run they've had. This is a buildup of years of being able to get any sponsor they want at the price they want because they've won not just this last year, but over the years. The other thing is real estate.
It's like compounding interest, basically.
Yeah, it's also the real estate, which they're just now figuring out how to develop around the arena. So, they're fine. And the other thing that was mentioned in the story is that the NBA is now starting to operate investment portfolios for each of its teams that are separate from whatever they do on the court or in their buildings. And so they're basically operating like the NFL now, is where they're making money that they're not even having to invest. And at that point, you're a casino.
Yeah, I mean, what is it called? A latent income? It's like, so, you buy a vending machine once, and all you got to do is fill it with candy weekly, and it just makes money for you all the time. And that's sort of what they've got right now. They've got this huge vending machine. They've got more slots for more candy to go in because all the buildings around Chase Center are owned by Joe Lacob and Peter Guber and the ownership group, and they're now starting to see their square footage getting rented out again after a year where, office space, there's still a lot of it in downtown San Francisco. The city of San Francisco has not returned in the way that other cities have returned. So as those buildings start to fill up, as this brand continues to win, as the global brand of Steph Curry continues to sell anything he touches like hotcakes, and the Warriors get a huge piece of that percentage, it's a money-making machine. Now, the other question that was asked, like, let's say they have 0 championships. I guess it's almost easier to imagine, like, what would the Warriors' timeline look like had they never drafted Steph Curry? Because if they never drafted Steph Curry, I think it's safe to say that none of this happened, right?
No. Stephen Curry is the single most responsible figure in making all this happen.
Without a doubt. So they never draft Steph Curry. They have 0 championships to show for it. They do not get the land. They're probably still at Oracle Arena, right? They probably
they're definitely at Oracle Arena.
Yeah, they don't get the land deal, which is part and parcel of their value now. I would say that the Warriors are worth somewhere in the mid to high $4 to $5 billion range.
Oh, I think much less.
Maybe even less. But here's the deal. There's the median NBA price is like $3.5 billion, right?
No, it's 2.8.
Is it 2.8?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's according to the story again in Forbes.
All right. So 2.8. I think the least valuable franchise is the Pelicans. I saw them coming in at $1.6 billion. They wouldn't be the Lakers. They wouldn't be the Knicks. But they would be one of those $4 to high $3 billion thing because they're still doing business in the Bay Area.
They're still doing business in the Bay Area, but they don't have nearly the buzz, which means they don't have nearly the sponsorships or the ad money. I'm going to guess they're in the lower half of the league, probably in the neighborhood of 2.5.
2.5?
Yeah. I mean, Stephen Curry and those 4 championships has put roughly $4.5 billion on top of their valuation because they don't get the new arena. There's no interest in San Francisco in letting them have an arena. Just go, no, we're going to keep that land for ourselves. And they're not selling out every night. remember, they didn't start selling out till the start of the 2014 season. Before that, they were drawing okay, but they weren't filling the building.
Right. Their buildings filling, their sold out nights were dependent on quality of opponent.
Exactly. So, there's the difference between, the world in which they currently live and the world in which they would have lived if the Minnesota Timberwolves had done the right thing and drafted him instead of Johnny Flynn is at least threefold, if not four.
By the way, if you want to know how valuable Steph Curry is to the Golden State Warriors, just ask Andre Iguodala.
Steph got a piece of that? You tell me. I would hope so.
That's Andre Iguodala being asked about the new valuation of the Warriors. Steph got a piece of that? I think at the end, Steph will have a piece of that. I wouldn't be surprised at all. By the way, welcome, boys and girls, to your 4 o'clock hour.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free.
Steph got a piece of that? You tell me. I would hope so.
Iguodala today down at Chase Center was talking about when we might actually see him on the basketball court. I would like to now present to you through a line of beat writer questions to Andre Iguodala. Let's be totally honest. This is the NBA's most boring mystery.
Where are you at just in terms of getting ready for the season? Steve said to ask you.
Yeah, don't ask Steve anymore, please. Let him focus on team, wins and losses. I'll be there when I be there.
You talked about having a plan with Rick. That was part of the reason you came back. Like, what is that plan?
Plan that's in place.
Does it include you playing in the next month, do you have it scripted out to a point like this is when I would like to be back? Or?
No, honestly, I think we kind of know, so we got a target date. So we ramp it up. We got regular days. We got some days that might take you back, but I think we're on the right path.
Any chance you want to hit at that target date?
Nah, because then,
if you're not there,
then you're doing something wrong. And then this noise that is not helpful to everybody else. So soon.
All right. So Iguodala is doing everyone a favor. Doesn't want to add to the noise. I don't know how much Andre Iguodala getting playtime really adds to the noise around the Golden State Warriors. It's a little bit of a curiosity, but it's all in the name of good news. When he does appear, that'll be good news. It'll be a good thing, and he'll get his 8 to 12 minutes. Every other game, I'm guessing Andre Iguodala appears in, if he stays healthy. What if I'm going to set the over-under at 40 Andre Iguodala appearances in a box score other than appearing as a DNP. Taking the over or under on that?
I think I'll take the over. And the reason why I'll take the over is while they're not going to play him a lot of minutes, I think one of the reasons why he's still here is as sort of a guidepost for the younger guys. And you get more throw weight with guys who play if you're playing yourself. If he's in street clothes a lot, it's harder to get the young guys to listen to him because they go, well, what are you telling us? You're not playing.
Well, he was in street clothes for every game but 27 games last year, and they told you how important he was to the entire mix.
Well, I know what they told us, but I don't know. The point is, it's always been true. If you're in uniform and you're playing in minutes or playing innings or playing whatever you're doing, when you're playing, your voice is louder than if you're not.
Well, of course.
Well, but I'm saying that
I would say the one guy who could test that formula would be the 19-year NBA vet whose name was Andre Iguodala. Andre Iguodala doesn't play a minute more of basketball in his entire life. No one's taken away from his bona fides.
No. This is not about anybody's evaluation of him as a player. But there is a basic truth that when you're talking about young guys, they tend to be pretty tunnel visioned and myopic about their world. And it's, wait a minute, if you're not playing, why are you telling me how to play? Because young guys are more prone to that because it takes them a while to learn how much work and how much sweat equity is involved in lasting that long. Andre Iguodala is for them a concept. He's not a real thing that they go to and go, tell me about this or tell me about that. It's just human nature. Young people don't get how old people got to be old. And that's just a truth from forever.
Well, talking about the young players on this team, Andre Iguodala was asked if their lack of minutes might actually go about stunting development in year 2 or 3 or 1, depending on what group of young guys you're talking about.
No, I actually think it's the opposite. I think you learn how to win. We've always talking about like our bottom of our league. We got to raise that bar. I think a part of that is, your purpose on the floor. And I think everyone's purpose on the floor should be, how do I put my team in the best position to be able to win? Or am I making winning plays? And I think on bad teams, you develop losing habits. You get comfortable with losing. And then you just put up a bunch of empty stats. And then now you have that problem. When you're a losing team, are those real stats or are those empty stats? And then, you got a guy like Wiggs who gets thrown in there and he shouldn't be. So you just, you're trying to figure out, is it the organization or is it the player? And so I think for JK, even Moses, even Wise, you're learning how to play winning basketball. And then, you got to be patient in this league as well. Who's to say if you go somewhere and you develop to your best ability for your talent, losing, who's to say they give up on you? You see that happen a lot in the league where you see very, very talented guys and teams give up on a guy and they end up in another situation. They do really well. So it's just about them being patient and understanding, like, when you learn winning basketball, then you get into your prime. You're still only 20 years old. You're 24 years old. He still got 10 years. He can be dominant, playing at a high level with winning ways of basketball. And I think that's the making of a true champion.
That's pretty interesting stuff from Iguodala. And I tell you, there's an awful lot of truth in what he said. You can have all the skills in the world. In a bad situation, they come out the wrong way because you are on the court too often and too early in your career, asked to do too much. The league gets the wrong perception of you, and you don't go on to be what you're worth over, if you're lucky to get enough, a 10-year-long NBA career. But if you have the luxury, and I know it's hard to see the luxury item of patience in so many young men and women's eyes these days. It's, Generation TikTok wants it now. And they want it in 8 seconds, and then they want it to go to the next thing and the next thing. Patience is not cooked in to the generations behind us. It never has been.
No, your generation was impatient. My generation was impatient. Our parents' generation, everybody's impatient.
Right.
Because when they're 20, they're the smartest people in the world. When they're 30, they just start to understand the stuff they don't know. And by the time they're 40, they're going, my God, how stupid I was.
You want to know who the best example of patience is to show to the young guys of the Golden State? Like Jonathan Kuminga. You upset with the minutes that you're getting? Would you like an example of how patience can pay off?
I know you're going to say.
Who am I going to say?
Looney.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to say Looney, actually. But Looney is a very good example of patience, but I don't know if a lot of those young guys relate to Looney in terms of, hey, what I'm ready to do in my rookie year as opposed to what you were ready to do in your rookie year. And by the way, you were the last pick of the first round. I am a lottery pick, for goodness sakes. Different starting points. I think Jordan Poole is the best testament to patience. Like, hey, Jonathan Kuminga, let's say the Warriors actually do want to send you to the G League this year to get a little bit more run. Is he going to react negatively to that? Well, if he's wired in a way that reacts negatively to that, I would be a little bit worried. That would be a tiny bit of a red flag to me, because look at what Jordan Poole did. He goes to the G League. He figures it out. He builds confidence that the NBA was not allowing him to construct. And by the way, this guy who exercised a whole bunch of patience, take a look at that checking account. Patience pays off if you continue to improve while this organization is being patient with you. I mean, that's the lesson that I would be teaching to anyone who's feeling right now like, man, I don't like my role. I don't like my minutes. They might send me to the G League. I don't know about that. Look at what happened to Jordan Poole. Look at what happened to Jordan Poole. His patience paid off in a way that no one really saw coming. So good for him. I mean, and good for you if you're willing to go through that. I mean, it ain't easy.
But it's not like it wasn't like he had a choice except to do that. He could have power pouted. in which case he would be on another team by now.
What choice does Kuminga have?
What?
What choice does Kuminga?
But that's my point. It's not like Jordan Poole, had anything to do except that he listened to people in his ear saying, it's going to happen for you, but you've got to do it our way. Because while you're here, we're not going to make an exception for you. You need to be better at these things. And it means you got to get playing time, which you're not going to get up here, which means you're going to be up and down Highway 1 a lot. So strap in, get used to it. And to his credit, he did. But there are a lot of players, and I'm not singling out Kuminga, there are a lot of young players who get drafted in the lottery and cannot figure out why they're not getting 30 minutes a night.
Well, that's where I think you got the wisdom and the communication skills of Bob Myers and Steve Kerr, who have been around this league longer than any new guy could ever pretend to be. And so you listen to them.
Well, you listen to them, but you also watch the guys who are getting the minutes that you're not. Jordan Poole couldn't say, I should be playing more of Stephen Curry's minutes or Klay Thompson's minutes. He, to his credit, he recognized that the box he was in, and that he was going to have to figure out another way to get 30 minutes a game. And he was going to have to be happy with the role he didn't want to have, which was sixth man. Because remember, he fought that early for a while.
Well, and look, I don't even know if six man's on the table for a guy like Jonathan Kuminga at any point in time. So it's you got to wait to be a role player, and then once you become a role player, we'll see if you graduate to even more than that. Like, that is the world that you're living in as a Golden State Warrior, and even though that might look negative to you right now, young man, understand it's really a luxury that very few careers get afforded in this league. The opportunity to start your career with a little patience and learning. It sounds fantastic. Andre Iguodala's got me sold on that concept, that's for sure. Damon and Ratto here on 95.7 The Game. Like I told you, a two-headed monster is brewing right in time for Halloween. I'm going to get into that next on 95.7 The Game. Stay tuned. We're brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full-service banking, no compromises.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for just $49.99 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Offer ends 12/5/2022. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable based on RootMetrics US report. Results vary, not an endorsement.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
No one knows where this market will go. Right now, it feels like a wild ride. But one thing's for certain, there's a way through it. And the experience and guidance of a Merrill advisor can help you get there. Because where there's a bull, there's a way. Find an advisor in San Francisco at ml.com/bullish.
Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do?
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor. Member SIPC, a wholly owned subsidiary of Bank of America Corp.
If you owe back taxes to the IRS, have unfiled returns, or are worried about an audit,
The IRS is hiring 87,000 new agents to address these very issues. That means if you need to get your tax problems resolved, now is the time to get started. I'm tax attorney Robert Goldstein, and my firm specializes in helping individuals and small businesses resolve their tax problems. We work to stop IRS and state seizures. We may be able to settle your tax debt for pennies on the dollar with an offer in compromise. We prepare your past due returns, even if you have no records, and represent you before the IRS and state in an audit. At the law offices of Robert Goldstein, the consultation is always free, and we have offices located throughout the Bay Area. To schedule your free consultation, call 1-888-TAX-EXIT. That's 888-TAXEXIT. 888-TAX-EXIT. And make us your last stop.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
In Berkeley, mostly clear overnight, lows in the high 40s.
Weather brought to you by Pfizer and BioNTech. This fall, there are now updated COVID-19 booster shots designed for recent Omicron variants. Learn more and schedule your updated booster at vaccines.gov.
Live life in the fast lane with 95.7 The Game and win tickets to see the Eagles. February 21st, 2023 at the SAP Center. Head to 957thegame.com/contests.
Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game.
So you can go ahead, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Twitch. Of course, you have found us often right on your radio. 957thegame.com brings it all to you. Go to the Odyssey app. And my goodness, everything we do, every single conversation, every segment can be found right there for you, free of charge, as Ray says, damn well better be. And indeed, it is. Halloween around the corner. I just saw Casey Pratt have a video on Twitter about Christian McCaffrey talking about his preferred Halloween candy. Let me tell you, if Christian McCaffrey tried to bring his preferred Halloween candy into a school right now, they'd have to tackle him at the 5. They'd never let him through the front door with peanut M&Ms. I mean, you might kill a kid with peanut M&Ms. You wouldn't believe the list of things that, you know, should you bring any candy to your child's preschool? Apparently, peanut allergies, Ray, are now like a serious concern. I mean, more than you'd ever freaking think.
I have a niece who's a nurse in Arizona who says that's the thing they worry about more than anything else with kids.
Peanut allergies.
Well, because they're not easily diagnosed until you find out that your kid's got an allergy by eating a peanut and, you know, blowing up like a poisonous Brazilian toad.
Right. I mean, so here's the deal. Your first peanut should not be at school. I would agree with you there, but.
No, I mean, I would imagine that's something that the prudent parent would take their kid to an allergist and just say, What test can you run so that we can find out what not to do to our kid? I mean, it's the
like, how do you find out if you're allergic to bees until you get stung by a bee?
Well, my understanding, and I could be talking out my ear.
Oh, no, you are a doctor.
Yes. Is that they have tests for nearly everything where they can sort of recreate like the bee sting or a spider bite and, the venom that comes from that. Venom's the right word. And they could say, you have a propensity for this, try to stay away from it.
Well, if you're worried about your kids maybe having an allergic reaction to any form of Halloween candy, keep them away from Christian McCaffrey, who is down with the peanut M&Ms, which is it's a strong candy. There's no doubt about it. Or take your kids to Ray's house for Halloween, because no one can get allergic on a dark front porch.
That's absolutely true. There's a game that night. I don't have time to run out and throw Three Musketeers into a kid's burlap bag.
Wouldn't your wife like to do that? See all the kids coming up, Halloween?
We did our 2 kids. We don't need any more.
You've done time.
We've more than done our time. See, you just started. You don't understand. You'll find out what you think about other kids coming to your house. I mean, when your kids are in high school and they're bringing kids over all the time, you will regret the day you had them to begin with.
Like a 17-year-old kid pulling a heater on my front porch. Hey, trick or treat.
Yeah. Standing on the roof of your car, with a blunt. And the blunt will be the best part of the kid.
I was about to say, well, that kid can probably stick around. He can hang out. We can get down. But
standing on your car's hood?
No.
Yeah, see, I mean, because trust me on this, kids are monumentally stupid until the light goes on about 35. And even then, some of them never get it.
I mean, I sent a 3-year-old to preschool wearing a dragon costume. I'm still very much in the cute phase.
Well,
it's nice. Let me bask in it while I can, Ray.
You asked me.
We know it all ends bad.
You asked me. I don't know what answer I'm supposed to give you and not be a hypocrite.
Are you ready for the 2-headed monster for Halloween that the Warriors want? I've teased this.
Yes, you did.
Are you ready?
Repeatedly. I'm sitting in a chair. I don't know how much more ready I need to be.
Let me just ask you this about the 2-headed monster. Do you believe in Kevon Looney?
I think yes, very much so.
I do too. Steve Kerr clearly does. And by the way, so does the NBA. Do you know that right now Kevon Looney is tied for the 5th best plus minus in basketball? He's plus 51 in his on-court time so far this year. Steve Kerr obviously believes in this guy. Kevon Looney is a completely made man with the Golden State Warriors. There is no doubt about that. No doubt about it.
No, I mean, no, that's painfully evident. And in fact, I would be willing to bet you that Kevon Looney will be a Warrior until the day Steve Kerr retires. Whenever that is, Steve Kerr will never let him go.
That's his Udonis Haslem?
More than Udonis Haslem, because he's one of those guys who subtly, he's now a team leader.
He's Steve's first rook as head coach, so there's always that. There's a guy who's played himself through nerve damage, like leg neuropathy, as we were talking about. If you're looking for an example of patience, I think if you're a young guy who's got, an injury thrown at you earlier in your career, certainly Kevon Looney is a shining example of things could still happen, but you got to learn the fundamentals to be important to the Warriors. You got to be in the right position, not some of the time, but all of the time. Your footwork has to be basically perfect. Let me ask you a second question. Do you believe in James Wiseman?
I don't know yet.
That's fair. Totally fair. I think I do believe in James Wiseman. Like, I can see it. I can see that there's something there that when I think about how he and Kevon Looney now complement each other, Ray, this is a really unique 2-headed monster. A very unique 2-headed monster. James Wiseman backing up Kevon Looney is a top 3 center in the NBA right now. I mean, you need 2 guys to get it done, but this is a really good NBA center. We're talking about 38.3 minutes, about 20 for Kevon and about 18 for James Wiseman. And you put them together and you got a functioning piece that complements each other based on how polar opposite the two of them truly are. Now think about it. It's maybe as unique a gap in player differences of any two-headed monster that you can think of. Name me two big men who are more different from each other than James Wiseman and Kevon Looney, right? So whoever you're playing is literally the exact opposite of the guy that you were just playing a minute ago as soon as there's a substitution one for the other. So that is always just a little hard to keep up with and tabs on for any sort of strategy you're looking to have out on a basketball court. And really, like, one guy's entire career promise is based on the concept of, I'm enough of an athlete to dunk on this entire gym. The other guy's career promise is based on the, well, I'm not that, but what I am is the guy who boxes out the one guy who's enough of an athlete to dunk on this gym.
Yeah, he's the guy who would prevent the guy who can dunk on the gym from dunking on the gym.
Yeah, it's amazing.
In fact, weirdly enough, you cited that plus-minus stat on Looney. James Wiseman is 415th out of 416 players in plus-minus.
So we're going to get into that because his plus-minus is terrible. Jordan Poole's plus-minus is terrible.
He's 412.
And Jonathan Kuminga's plus-minus is terrible.
Which is amazing considering how little he's played.
Well, I think it's part and parcel of how little he's played, to be totally honest.
Well, no, it is, but to achieve that number in that few minutes is pretty remarkable.
Now, you're looking at it right now, so don't just spoil it for everyone. Guess who has the worst plus-minus in the NBA?
I already knew this, so I'm not going to answer it.
Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Kevin Durant's got the worst plus-minus in professional basketball. Raise your hand if you would have guessed that. How many stabs at that would you have needed before your knife plunged into the right answer?
You know who else has a terrible plus-minus so far? And again, plus-minus is not a great stat, except maybe as something comparable after you've played like 25 games or not. Ben Simmons has a terrible. He's like minus 43. You know, I mean, that's...
Yeah, well, I mean, again...
I mean, it's a statement. It's a statement that Brooklyn's not very good yet.
Brooklyn's not playing a lot of defense. I promise you're going to find some Philadelphia 76ers down in the bottom third of that league because their defense sucks right now. And the Warriors' defense has been not what they wanted it to be, and that's why their second unit is buried on plus-minus charts. As bad as as bad as James Wiseman's plus-minus is, Ray, how do you feel about PER? Player efficiency rating, the John Hollinger.
It's a more useful stat than plus-minus.
It is not the definitive end-all, be-all of player evaluation, but it measures enough things to be a well-rounded enough stat to explain some player value. So number one player efficiency rating on the Golden State Warriors right now is Steph Curry. Steph Curry has a 26.27 player efficiency rating. It's 18th best in the NBA. Right now, Andrew Wiggins is number 2 on the Golden State Warriors with a 2127 player efficiency rating, which is good enough for the 40th spot in the NBA. Now, the player efficiency number can fluctuate greatly based on how much court time you're getting. So the more court time a young player with a great PER might get in limited minutes could shrink dramatically if he were out there longer than those limited minutes and get exposed. But I really don't think that that is going to be a problem ultimately for the Warriors' number 3 in PER so far in this year. Care to guess who that is if you're not already looking?
I am not looking.
It's James Wiseman. James Wiseman is number 3 right now on the Golden State Warriors' entire roster in PER. He's the 54th best in basketball. Again, it's a limited amount of court minutes in comparison to other guys who are on this list, and maybe more court minutes for James Wiseman exposes him to the point where that PER goes down, not up. But obviously you're hoping for the opposite of that the more court minutes that James Wiseman makes and has, it'll go up. What I'm saying here is there is something incredibly interesting happening in the Warriors center position when you look at these guys, how they form that two-headed monster. What we know Kevon Looney does and does well, what we hope James Wiseman can do now well and will continue to do better. I think it's just a fascinating thing to look at. And instead of breathlessly analyzing the minutes that Jonathan Kuminga didn't get, another way to look at this basketball team over the next 10 games or so is to look at what James Wiseman's doing backing up Kevon Looney.
Well, Wiseman's a more important player right now. I mean, that I don't think anybody has a question about that. And given the fact that Wiseman's PER number is as good as it is an indication that his plus-minus number, which stinks, when you combine it with all the other Warriors whose plus-minus numbers stink, that's a measure of their team defense. And I mean, that unit's defense, which is appalling. That's why they don't get more minutes, because they don't defend. And that's why their plus-minus numbers are so bad. Because it's not a surprise that Jordan Poole's number is through the roof. It's not a surprise that Kuminga's number is through the roof, even though he doesn't play much. I mean, JaMychal Green's number is well into double-digit minuses. I mean, they're not good as a unit defensively. And in fact, to say they're not good as a unit defensively is giving them way too much credit. So the PER, A, is a better standard, and B, to me, the notion of the two-headed monster makes me wonder if there are scenarios in which they could be on the floor together. So they don't seem to mesh well, but I think at some point their paths are going to intersect. Their Venn diagram is actually going to meet, and there will be minutes where they're both on the floor, and that's when it'll be fun.
I think I got your opponent. I like how you're thinking. You're a step ahead of the conversation. Exactly where I was going with this.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It means we got kismet, you and me. That's why it works, honey. It's the Minnesota Timberwolves. Who's rolling out two bigger guys in the middle, even though Karl Anthony Towns is rarely in the middle, but that's Rudy Gobert's job now. I think when this team gets to the Minnesota Timberwolves, we might get our first look at what would James Wiseman and Kevon Looney look like out on the court together. That feels like it would be the right opponent to maybe check that out with. So
you might see at least a little bit of it. I don't know that Steve Kerr would trust James Wiseman on Karl Anthony Towns yet, just because he's still prone to foul, and if he gets into foul trouble, all of a sudden, now Kevon Looney is going to end up being overmatched by either one of those guys. So I think you'll still see a lot more Wiggins on Towns than you would Wiseman, but I think there'll be little spells here or there where that'll happen.
The other little wrinkle to what really would happen if this two-headed monster takes root, and it's something that you can count on night in, night out, like at the 5, you either got Kevon Looney or James Wiseman, and that's pretty much the way the Warriors are playing. Boy, that takes an awful lot of body weight off of Draymond Green, doesn't it? If Draymond Green can play the 4, drift into that 3 a little bit, he doesn't get beat up on the low blocks, banging against guys who he's given 6 inches and 50 pounds to every single night. And that is, I just think, a good way to go about preserving the year that you hope you start getting from Draymond Green. So the two-headed monster can benefit the Warriors in a lot of ways, and Draymond not picking up collateral damage as a small ball 5 when the other team hasn't gone small yet and he's still getting banged on. It's a good way to find a decent win total when this season is over after all. Like I said, we're 4 games into a year. We have 78 games remaining. So the people who are breathlessly trying to analyze the war, oh my God, what is that? What is wrong with this team's minutes? What is wrong with these young guys? What is wrong with the young unit? Nothing. Nothing's wrong. I have good news for everyone. I understand we have, content to create and vacuum to fill and all
shovelfuls to hurl.
Look, but I don't even know if this is good for us because Sports Talk Radio loves to sell panic. There's no reason to be panicking about the Golden State Warriors, not even close. Not even close. You want to panic about the Golden State Warriors? Troy Murphy starting tonight. That's what panic looked like. And by the way, Troy Murphy wasn't bad. You should. That's a shot. It's just, he's better than that. But look, this is not. Nothing's wrong with the start of the Warriors. What's wrong with the start of the Warriors season? Nothing. Nothing is wrong with the start of the year.
No, there's one thing that's wrong. They are giving up way too many points. Right. And that is not,
we're going to work on that, though, is my point.
No,
that's going to solve itself.
Well, they are. I'm not going to bother.
You and I have no solutions.
They're on their own. But I don't remember a stretch where they've had 3 games where they have been, if not out and out hopeless, then profoundly disinterested because they want to play at a ridiculously high pace that they're not qualified to do. They might have been able to do this for a few games here or there, but their pace now, and Steve Kerr said it.
It's unsustainable.
It's not, it's unsustainable and it's foolhardy. They're at the stage now where they're not only supposed to be who they are talent-wise, but they're supposed to be smarter than the teams they play. What they did against Phoenix was let Phoenix dictate the pace and let them continue to dictate the pace. That's why the defense is a problem. They allowed Denver to manufacture pace. The Warriors need to be the ones who control the game. And by that, I mean not just shooting percentage and rebounds and all that other stuff. It's maintaining the rate at which plays develop, plays happen, plays end, the next play starts. They're not doing that yet. And I would think that they should be at least further along in that part of the game because they've done that before.
Steve Kerr with us yesterday.
The pace through 4 games has been just ridiculous. It is so high, unsustainably high. We've always believed in playing with pace, but right now it just feels like I'm looking at a pickup game. We're flying up and down the floor. We're giving up all kinds of transition opportunities to our opponent. We're dead last right now in transition points allowed per game. We're not really playing with a purpose. That can mean a lot of different things. What that means to me is we're not connecting the game offensively and defensively. When you have good offensive possessions and you take good shots, generally you're in position to get back defensively and to get a stop, and vice versa. You play great defense, you're in a better position to score. Right now there doesn't seem to be much purpose to our game. We're just sort of out there flying around, and even though we're playing hard and guys are trying, we're just kind of rudderless.
And he's right about all that. But fans need to understand that reacting to NBA results on a nightly basis should not feel anything like reacting to NFL results. It is not, every game is not a fork in the road of the season you're about to have. Just think back to any one of the Warriors' 4 championships here in the Steph Curry area, in the Steph Curry era, or Bay Area, whichever you prefer. But think back to every single championship. What did you know about any of those teams through 4 games? The team that started 4-0, that was good. That was great.
The team that started 24-0 was probably
that was a pretty good indicator that the year was about to be fantastic. Might I also suggest they did not win a title that year?
Yes.
So there you go. What do October results mean? I think to some teams they would mean more. To the Golden State Warriors, it almost means absolutely nothing. Well, what about Draymond's defense? Do you think Draymond gives a rip about October basketball? He's admitted as much, where he can't get himself up and lathered and ready to go in games that don't mean much.
But he's been up and lathered for these 4 so far because he's got the other issue.
He's been okay.
Well, he's not been a negative at any point.
No,
as a player so far.
No,
I think when you talk about he's playing against the Lakers, they stink.
Here's what
against Sacramento, they stink. He played hard in all of them.
Yeah, Draymond's always going to play hard, but really good defense. I don't know if we've even seen that from him yet. What he is doing right now is shooting at an offensive clip that, borders on remarkable, considering it's Draymond Green. I think he's about 60% from the floor already this year, where he is a career 40-something guy. So that's what he is really done well. He started off hitting buckets, making buckets. He's been good at the rim. He hit a couple jumpers. Damon, you want to know what panic was from the 925? Patrick O'Brien is your starting center when Ike Diagu is at the 4. So tell people to calm down. Eric Dampier on line 2.
That wasn't panic. That was the acceptance that they were going to be bad that year. Because they were.
Right.
And they were bad the year before, and they were bad the year after.
The minutes that were handed out to those teams didn't matter. I didn't hear anyone talking about minutes in the Diagu era.
Nobody was panicked about those Warrior teams because they weren't watching them.
Well, I was. Those were long nights. Those were long, long nights.
But you knew what was coming whenever you went to the arena.
Right. Damon,
they're not going to be good. They're going to give up 117. They're going to score 99. That's lather, rinse, repeat.
Xfinity Mobile text line says, Draymond's been pretty solid. Yeah, and he's really not even out there brass knuckles Draymond yet. He has been pretty solid. Once he goes brass knuckles Draymond, 10 more games from now when they start really buckling down defensively, I'll tell you, this road trip's going to be a good chance for them to go ahead and find some defensive Jesus, because if they don't, they're going up against some teams that can put up some points. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Heat. We'll talk about the NFL Week 8, which is starting in just a little bit with Thursday Night Football. Don't you go anywhere. It is our longest commercial-free segment of the entire day. So don't you move. It's Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game, brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full-service banking. No compromises.
Hey, it's Moses Moody with the Golden State Warriors.
Full right side, right corner, Moody. It's a 3, and it's money in the bank for Moses Moody.
It's game day, Dub Nation.
Moody, he'll fire away. 3 ball! Moses Moody forces a timeout. The Warriors lead by 18.
Lock in all day right here on 95.7 The Game.
Why spend hours negotiating with a car salesman to get the best price for a vehicle you want to buy? At BMW of Fairfield, we give you our very best, most competitive price right up front. By eliminating the price negotiation process, we create a comfortable environment that helps our guests enjoy an experience that's often hostile and difficult at other dealerships. There is a better way. Experience it for yourself at BMW of Fairfield. One price, one person, 1 hour.
Tune in to 95.7 The Game for Warriors Live, 60 minutes before tip-off of every Warriors game. Brought to you by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you may be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to GetRefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
The following is an attorney advertisement. If you get sidelined by a workplace injury, the workers' compensation attorneys at Boxer and Gerson can help get you back in the game. Our team of skilled attorneys will fight by your side for the treatment and compensation you deserve. We care about justice for injured workers. That's what makes us Northern California's premier workers' comp law firm. Call Boxer and Gerson at 510-345-2341 or visit boxerlaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer and Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
Football season is here. The new Odyssey app lets you stay connected to your NFL team, your station, your shows. Follow your favorite stations and come back again and again. Get real-time updates on everything you care about. Miss your show? Jump back to their awesome rewind feature. The Odyssey app is NFL football. Live and on demand. Wherever you are, whenever you want. And did we mention it's all free? Download the Odyssey app today.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Hey, it's Tiki Barber. When part of your offense isn't firing on all cylinders, it shows. And sometimes the only solution is to replace that part with something new. It's true on a championship team, and it's also true with cars. That's why I love eBay Motors. They have all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. That way, you can get the parts you need to make your car a winner. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
The award-winning documentary Beyond Homeless, Finding Hope offers real hope for transforming homelessness in San Francisco. Watch at beyondhomeless.org.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-200-1966. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-200-1966. That's 800-200-1966 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had 2 challenges: improve their brand presence and message, and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to kansascitysteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WebNow1. That's 877-WebNow1.
Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game.
So we're going to hop into the NFL's Week 8, which is going to start tonight, 49ers and Rams. And if you're a Niner fan, you just got to hope that the regular season ownage that Kyle has enjoyed over Sean McVay plays out one more week. We'll worry about next year. Just one more week of beating the Rams like it's kind of easy is exactly what the 49ers need, because then they get a bye week, and they really get this offense hopefully up to speed. And you go take your chances with the rest of the NFL year, hopefully looking at a 4-4 record through their first 8 games. 7 more coming up after that. A lot of games at home still, so more than that. More than 7 games. So I'm bad at math, Ray. Turn your mic on. God, this is why the Ray Turn Your Mic On t-shirt is the number one seller right now.
I was too fascinated by the fact that if they win on Sunday, they're now 3-0 in the division. And since the division tends to stink, that's a huge number.
That might be enough to put them in the postseason right there.
Yeah. I mean, that's worth the mention. And it's why ultimately the Kansas City game will fade in importance pretty quickly. Because Kansas City is going to win that game 11 times out of 10.
The choice between beating the Chiefs or beating the Rams is no choice at all for the 49ers if they had to actually choose between the two.
Yeah, well, and not only that, the fact that Kansas City boat raced them is of no consequence unless they get into a situation where point differential matters. And if they do, then they don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
By the way, Jason Verrett is practicing and activated. So hopefully that makes whatever's gone wrong defensively go a little bit more right as they take on what is essentially the throw it to Cooper Kupp Los Angeles Rams. That's what you're going to face. You're going to face the Rams defense and Matthew Stafford throwing it to Cooper Kupp. That's the team. That's the mission. Beat Cooper Kupp, beat the Rams.
Yeah, and they're not going to beat Cooper Kupp. They have to beat all the other guys because Cooper Kupp's getting his 12 receptions for 137 yards no matter what they do.
Wouldn't it be great?
He's like Travis Kelce. He's getting his.
Wouldn't it be great if you could say Deebo Samuel lived in that world? Christian McCaffrey better been brought in to live in that world. 20 McCaffrey touches come hell or high water. If he ain't hurt, 20 touches. I don't mean 20 targets. I mean touches. Touch doesn't count unless he catches it or runs with it.
Well, I mean, that's 7 catches and 13 rushes. That's not a preposterous number.
No, it's not. Yeah, again, it's one of those, the only guy who can hold back Deebo or Christian McCaffrey might be Kyle Shanahan.
I don't think Kyle Shanahan, having gone to the trouble of getting Christian McCaffrey for what he had to spend to get him, is going to keep him under a blanket. There's no reason to keep him a secret.
I hope you're right. I hope he isn't just trying to be extra cautious at all times because God forbid you get him hurt or anything like that.
See, I don't think he's cautious about how he uses guys. I mean, the big criticism in the offseason was that Deebo Samuel was getting worked too hard. And one of the people making that criticism was Deebo Samuel. And so I don't think he's bashful about using assets.
Ask Trey Lance, right?
I don't know what to tell you.
I know, but a palms up gesture doesn't do well on radio.
People are watching, remember? You keep telling me that.
Yeah, but not nearly as many as the millions of listeners.
Millions?
Over the course of a month.
Are you counting insects?
Yeah, well, yeah, hey, anything with ears. Does this insect have a meter? Could be the difference.
Does an insect have a meter? Let's consider that for about, an hour and 5 minutes.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if they could strap meters on insects.
Oh, no question.
They do it.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm surprised your kids haven't been metered up.
It's against the law. I've been told. I've already asked.
You asked about having your kids metered?
No, I'm kidding.
No, but I mean, I don't see an illegality there.
Oh, you are not allowed to carry a ratings monitoring device if you are the child of a talk show host.
Show me where that says.
Oh, I guarantee you.
If you're a child, the child is an independent contractor. The child does not work for Odyssey.
No, but the child will do what his father says, and if he says you listen to this radio show,
if your kids do what you say, they have failed.
No,
that's what they have a mother for.
No. Mommy's going to say, we bring home more bacon if we could get 1 meter listening to every minute of every show. That's how it works. It's nuts. 1 meter changes the world, right?
Then you know what? Buy a dog and strap the meter to him.
Strap it on insects, dogs. We don't care how you listen to the show. Just do it, and do it with a meter.
Yeah, see? There are ways around everything. Being unscrupulous is the American way.
Not me. I'm a Boy Scout. So, Steve Kerr, on with us yesterday, said something interesting that he wasn't saying about this team last year. That this team might need, one more stalwart, a veteran coming off the bench to really start functioning.
You think about this run that we've been on, we've always had veterans coming off the bench who were stabilizers. You know, Sean Livingston, Andre Iguodala, Zaza Pachulia, David West, David Lee. You know, we've had these guys who had been around for a long time, who were helping guide the team, helping lead the team. You know, now we have a group of guys coming off the bench who are just trying to figure out what's what. And so it's a very different leadership dynamic, very different roster dynamic that we're looking at this year, and that requires different leadership from within and a different way of looking at things.
And look, I'm sure Steve knows his team very, very well. Maybe he's feeling the absence of a veteran presence, the ilk of Sean Livingston, David West, guys whose reputations would have landed, big in any locker room. Universal respect guys around the NBA. And I don't know if some of the veterans that they have coming off their bench right now are universal respect guys. I mean, Dante DiVincenzo, maybe. JaMychal Green, not yet. Iguodala, when that does happen, certainly that's going to happen. But this team doesn't need any more veteran leadership. Now when you got Steph, Clay, Dre, Iguodala, and guess what? At this point in time, you can say he's young. Jordan Poole's a leader. He's a veteran. Jordan Poole's a veteran of many NBA seasons. Kevon Looney, a veteran of many NBA seasons. If you played more than 1 year, you're a veteran. Not this decorated stripes on your shoulder level veteran, but there are only a few guys who are walking around all wide-eyed. Wow, look at the NBA. I've never even been to this arena before. If your name is not Ryan Rollins or Patrick Baldwin Jr., I don't want to hear about it. Do they need one more veteran on their bench? No, they don't. What they need is to go through the growing pains that were baked into this year's cake with having a young bench.
They need another veteran presence on the second unit. And Steve Kerr, as much said, is that's not going to happen.
How? Exactly.
Yeah, but the truth is they could use a guy on the second unit on the floor during games, go, you need to be here and you need to be ready to do this. Because
Iguodala's coming.
How many minutes is he going to play in a game? You said yourself, 6 to 8. That's not much of a presence, at least not on the floor. I mean, because a lot of learning that young players do is being told in the middle of a game, at any dead ball, okay, we need you to do, this is what you're going to do now. Because young people, especially ones who fret about their minutes, are all in their own heads. They're not seeing the game as one of five. They're seeing the game as me against the world. Because all young guys are that. There are almost no players when they come into the NBA who understand their place among four other guys. It's too hard to do because they don't play enough college ball to figure that out, and most of them in college are first among equals. Well, so it's a skill that takes work, and it takes somebody who they can look at and say, that guy knows what he's talking about, and the coach is telling him he knows what he's talking about.
You know who the young guy is on this team that I think fits that mold perfectly? Is Moses Moody. Because Moses Moody was a Ware Bayesian blend high school player with the teams that he was on. I mean, he was playing with NBA lottery picks when he was in high school. So there's a guy who found his own level in the water at that, and then he was obviously at Arkansas. Like, Moses Moody does understand the value of playing a role amongst a team of better players. So I think that's why we're seeing Steve Kerr sort of lean on him a little early here. I think we're going to see more and more of Moody before we see more and more of, Kuminga. And rightfully so, because he fits. He fits.
But he's also, the problem that Moody has, though, and this is not a criticism of it, is he's the fifth guard. So it's hard to get minutes when you're the fourth guard. Maybe the fifth sometimes if DiVincenzo comes back.
Right. Well, I hope you're not including Ty Jerome in that equation.
Not yet. I need to see him do more before I decide where he fits in the universe. You're right about Moody's qualifications, but it's going to be hard for him to get minutes under any circumstances. Kuminga is, the third big man?
Right, yeah.
Truth is, when in doubt, they're going to put Wiseman in situations, not Kuminga, because all they've said in the last, since the season ended, is how much Wiseman has developed as a thinker. That he's getting what they're trying to impart to him. I've yet to hear anybody say that about Kuminga, which means that when in doubt, those minutes will go to Wiseman, not Kuminga. So you're right. I think they do expect more that way from Moody right now. But Moody's problem is he's stacked up way down the list of guards.
Let's start by welcoming all the boys and girls listening to your 5 o'clock hour.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free.
The frustrations with the transition defense, the frustrations with a younger bench, the frustrations with the second unit. Steve Kerr on with us yesterday and said, look, you're looking at early enough in the season to say, yeah, with a group like this, what you're looking at in terms of our struggles, it's kind of normal.
No, I think this is normal. And coming off of a championship, not only a championship, but our sixth trip to the finals in 8 years, it's hard to expect, Draymond, Clay, Steph, Loon, hard to expect these guys to be in, playoff mode from an intensity standpoint. I think they've all played hard and they've all played well. Wiggs has had a great start to the season. Draymond's pushing in transition over the last few games has been fantastic. So it's not that guys aren't playing hard. It's just the mental focus and attention to detail that it takes to really be connected with a new group is not there yet. And that's what we've got to work towards.
And I think they're going to figure it out because the Warriors, historically, in the Steve Kerr era, if they're healthy, they more than figure it out. They win an NBA championship for the most part. When they are healthy, they figure things out to the tune of, we did it again. They also owe it to themselves to go through these growing pains. It needs to be a year where the torch is not passed. That's way too formal, but the torch is shared with the new generation of players. They owe it to themselves to go through these struggles. It's the best thing, maybe not for the short-term future, but for the long-term future, there's no doubt. There's no doubt that that's the best thing for them, to struggle a little bit now. It will all pay off and come out in the wash by the end of the year. If you're still looking at terrible transition numbers around the NBA All-Star break, if you're still wondering why Jonathan Kuminga can't get minutes and why his plus-minus has dropped to like minus 300, if these things are happening in February, we got something else to talk about. Then we got ourselves what's going on for real.
Yeah, well, I mean,
we're a long way from February.
Oh, we're a long way from, November as far as that goes. I mean, the fact is, you don't make a judgment on anybody in 4 games. And when you're talking about
except the Lakers.
True. But the Lakers were this last year, too.
Right.
And the Lakers, other than their title year in the bubble, have been this for a decade.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're a surprise. No, but, yeah, if Kuminga's not getting it any better than he's getting it now, and it's February, there's a trade deadline. And the truth is, and nobody wants to face this, the 2-track, development that the Warriors are talking about does not necessarily require that the young guys they currently have will be the young guys that are on this team when that younger generation has to pick up the bulk of the minutes. There will be changes between now and then. There will be far fewer changes among the veterans than there will be among the young guys because there's always going to be another Kuminga. There's always going to be another Moody. There's always going to be another, you name it. Change on rosters is inevitable, and change is almost always about young guys you draft, and you got to see if they're any good.
888-957-9570. Donald in San Jose. What's going on, Donald?
Yes. You were talking about we needed some veteran presence on the court and on the bench. Jay Crowder is sitting there just twiddling his thumbs. Why can't we try to sign him?
Well, right now the Warriors are very much spending an awful lot of money on this roster.
They're cap-tastic.
Yeah, they really are. Look, I'll just say this about Jay Crowder. Whenever I see him, he's usually playing the Warriors. And for some reason, when Jay Crowder plays the Warriors, he plays well. I like Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder does not have the splits or minutes or stat line that you'd think would really help this team out, but that veteran presence, Jay Crowder's defensive commitments, if that's where veteran presence really needs to be, pulling in that direction, I don't know if he's the right guy there, but I don't dislike Jay Crowder. I just don't think that Joe Lacob is looking to add Jay Crowder to the tune of $30 million. I don't care how much they're worth today. I don't want Jay Crowder with a $30 million tax bill.
Well, this would be the last year of his deal, which is 10.1. But
so
with
by the time he's a Warrior, it's 30 easy.
Yeah, probably more than that. It's again, given the the vagaries of the tax, I'm not sure what the number is, but it's multiples of 10. So is Jay Crowder worth $40 million? Is Jay Crowder worth $60? Whatever the multiple is, I don't know that makes sense. But then again, Joe Lacob's got 25% of a $7 billion company. So shut up about it. Sign Jay Crowder today.
Who are you cutting?
You can cut anybody. Send Ryan Rollins. Make him a Fort Wayne fire ant. Or mad ant.
Mad ant.
They are.
I've been to a Mad Ants game. That's
ANTZ.
That's all I have to say about that.
You were there, though.
I was there.
It's a better nickname than most of the ones in the NBA now. I'd rather be a Mad Ant than a Thunder.
I don't like the Thunder. It's always been a weak nickname for sure.
It was a terrible idea based on terrible ownership.
I'm all about the singular mascot not being pluralized with an S on it. I think that's cool if you do it right. But just Thunder, no.
Yeah, but
and it also put somebody out of work in Oakland. The Warriors mascot, he got jobbed on the whole Thunder thing.
Well, life's hard, and then you have to become another stuffed animal. But the Heat is a bad nickname. We're used to it because it's been there forever.
I always thought it fit. It fit Miami Heat. It's perfect. It's Miami, so it works.
Miami humid. Miami sticky.
Yeah. I honestly think that the single greatest team invented in my lifetime, given a nickname that automatically worked, was the Arizona Diamondbacks. I thought that was perfect. A diamondback, snake, desert, diamond. I get it.
But then they went away from the snake pretty quickly because political lunatics complained.
They didn't like the snake. Their colors suck. They still haven't really figured it out. But I always thought it was a great nickname.
The Arizona Coyotes is a great nickname, and particularly given that what they did with their logo eventually was such a good idea.
It was. Yeah, I saw that they brought that back on the reverse retro jerseys.
Yeah. Well, no, they're wearing them regularly. This is just a different color.
What kind of attendance are they getting in their 9,000 person stadium?
Try 4,700.
4,700, pardon me.
So I don't think they'll get 9.
I mean, what a crowd they had that night.
Well, I think their opener is on the 28th, which is tomorrow.
Oh, they still haven't even played there yet?
No. Well, I think they were still finishing the final touches on Mullet Arena.
I hope you truly enjoyed this Arizona Coyote segment. It is now over.
It was 30 seconds. They can get over it.
This is Ariel in Palo Alto. Hello, Ariel.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How are you?
Doing well.
Hey, so I just wanted to talk about the Warriors really quick. I mean, it's definitely way too early for people to start freaking out. I would say, obviously, coming off a championship, it's normal to have these kind of growing pains. Also, I just want to say, the guys deserve to take a couple of nights off. You know what I mean? And I would say games like that, fuck it, let the new guys just go ahead and have a run.
Ariel, we cannot use the phrase F it on the radio. Thank you very, very much. God almighty. I love that you're that comfortable, that you're just feeling like you're talking to us.
But imagine the disappointment when you realize you're talking to us.
I don't like to see Mark Grandy panicked like that. The look of horror that comes across Grandy's face.
Gotta hustle. Make sure I hit that dump button in time.
Way to go.
You got 7 seconds. You did it.
Always begin with what did he just say?
There's our next T-shirt. Respect the dump button.
There's no way that won't be taken wrong. That said, he's wrong about give the guy some run. That's not what the Warriors do, and that's not what the Warriors should do. You don't just give guys run. You make them earn their run. And James Weissman is the living embodiment of that. They gave him run, and he wasn't up to it. And they had to send him down a couple of times. Then he got hurt and delayed everything. So
I wonder how much his developmental arc would have changed had he never been hurt. If his physical nature had never been a question, I wonder how much patience they would have given him struggling, trying to figure it out in real time. I think the Warriors probably, if you sodium pentothal, Bob and Steve would tell you that those injuries were a little bit of a blessing in disguise because it gave them an opportunity to sit him down and teach him things that maybe he just wouldn't have learned otherwise.
I think, though, that they also would have sat him down anyway, because Steve Kerr, in particular, who gets to decide these things more than Bob Myers does, has very little patience for people who are making the same mistakes over and over again, which is usually what young guys do while they're still trying to learn their craft. And so I think even if he was healthy, he wouldn't be playing 26 minutes a game. He'd be playing about 12. And Kerr would think of some other way to deal with those minutes. It might have meant, going out and getting the veteran big guy to play 6 minutes after Looney plays his 17. But he wasn't they weren't going to stand pat with Weissman being perpetually confused out there, because it's self-defeating after a while. It becomes a confidence problem. It becomes a I don't know what they want from me problem. It's I don't know why he's not paying attention to what we're trying to tell him problem. And then it becomes a real issue. So I think they would have curtailed his minutes anyway.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think they just let him out there to suffer and die and have team, play poorly because of him. But it would have been interesting to see how long that leash would have gotten. I just, again, the multiverse of the Golden State Warriors. Now we're exploring things that could have never happened. This is Bob Myers today with Steiny and Guru talking about being a young guy on the Warriors roster. It ain't an easy thing.
It's a little bit tougher with us as a young guy. We don't throw our young guys out there for 30 minutes and watch them make 25 mistakes. They get a short window, and when it doesn't work, they got to sit down. And that's tough. And it doesn't mean he also has a ring. So as a young player, you either probably get too long a leash or too short a one. It's never perfect. And then eventually you got to sink or swim at some point in your career. But you'll get it at some point in your career, and at some point with us, Jonathan will get bigger minutes. I believe that, because that's just how the season goes. But until then, it's just the path of a young player. Very rarely do people walk in. I mean, Matt knows, he was writing stories when AC Law was finishing games and Curry wasn't. That happens. That's a fact. The challenge for us is, how do you keep guys' confidence? How do you keep them focused? And our coaching staff and player development is constantly doing that stuff. You don't see that stuff, but that's where we hope when he does get the big minutes, it shows up on the floor.
Bob Myers' sales job, Steve Kerr's sales job to these young players is that leash that Myers is talking about right there. I know it always sounds better that you get the longer leash, but in this instance, on this team, on this roster, be thankful that you get the shorter leash. Just be thankful. I know a lot of you guys are convinced that the only way you're going to get better is to get out there and play through all your struggles. But when you're playing to go where we want to go at the end of the year, that can't really happen. Your short leash is a luxury afforded very few lottery picks. Normally, lottery picks are pushed into the pool, the deep end, saying, we really hope that you go from doggy paddle to backstroke to the 200-meter butterfly quickly, almost overnight. You got to learn all these different disciplines instantly in the deep end of the pool. It's a luxury to be able to take swim class in the short end of the pool. I know it doesn't feel like that. I know it doesn't look like that. I know players don't want to hear it or accept that. Your short leash earlier in your career can be better for you than a long leash where you're out there learning bad habits, bad technique, and not really getting how to win. You can learn how to win when you're a Golden State Warrior. And that's a skill. It's a skill in this league. How to win. It doesn't just happen. Everyone's got talent. There's not an untalented team in the NBA. You know, this is where you want to say a Lakers joke, don't you?
No.
No?
I was going to say the Kings.
Okay, well, come on.
One of 3 winless teams.
It's early.
With the Kings, it's been early for 16 years now.
Mike Brown's going to put it together. Give him time.
Yep, 31-51.
Ouch. You know what? I guarantee if you walked up to Mike Brown right now and say 31-51, buy or sell, he might buy. Based on what he's seen?
Based on what he's seen, nah, it would drive him nuts.
Still holding out for 33?
Yeah.
This is John in Oakland. What's going on, John?
Hey, how's it going, fellas?
What's up?
Hey, I'm just calling to say that I've come a long ways, as a Warrior fan, been watching a long time, and honestly, I look forward. I only tune in to watch the young guys play. I'm interested in them getting better, and I'm not rooting for if they make a mistake that I get them out of there. I understand that, that the limits are going to be, minutes are going to be short because they're young guys, but I tune in to watch them. I'm rooting for them, not like, 10, 15 years ago where you just prayed that we can get a win. I'm not really interested in wins and losses. I just want to see those guys get better. I'm rooting for them to improve each week. Because honestly, watching Curry and them at this point does nothing for me. I can watch Curry go for 50 tonight, and they can beat Miami, but what does that really do? That doesn't tell me anything. They've won 4 championships. It's nothing that, the most entertaining thing about that Phoenix game was Clay getting kicked out, because winning that game does nothing for us. It does everything for them, but it does nothing for us. So watching the young guys play, I just hope the fans, the true fans, will know, just root for the young guys to get better, to improve, just like JP. In my opinion, Kuminga and all them are ahead of where JP was. We see how bad it got for him before it got better. So I'm hoping the same thing for the rest of the guys. I just, I want to see them play. I want to see them improve. I'm never going to get down on them. There's nothing the team can do that can discourage me, because they won 4 more championships than my mind will ever be able to understand. So I love them for that, and I'm just rooting for those guys to get better, and I'm not worried about, wins and losses and this and that like most fans, because you don't live in reality, and I know you want your team to win, but, I just want to see these guys get better, because, we're closer to the end of the Curry in them than we are the beginning. So, I'm rooting for these guys to get better, and even if that means they have to struggle to get better, I'm okay with that.
Well, John, you got is some nuance to your fandom. You do. And you should be given full credit for that. Now, I hope you're not taking Steph Curry for granted. That's a hell of a show that you get to watch in your life, and you should enjoy it all. If he goes for 50 tonight, I have a feeling you'll enjoy that, and you'll be leaning forward as he's launching that 3 with 47 to see if he gets the 50 burger. But having said all that, you understand that it's not for a team as established as the Golden State Warriors. It really isn't whether you're winning or losing. It is how you're playing and how you're developing. Like I said, they owe it to themselves to go through the growing pains of this year to better secure their future through a few struggles today that'll be worth going through when you come out of the tunnel on the other side of this season. So you're a smart fan. You understand what is now important to the Warriors. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney, Andrew Wiggins, these guys have established themselves. It's up to Jordan Poole and the rest of the cast behind them to establish themselves to where you're getting a consistent performance. Sometimes in the NBA, you lose basketball games. It's a make-or-miss league. Tonight's game against the Miami Heat is an ultimate example of a make-or-miss game. If the Warriors hit their shots tonight, the Heat are in trouble. It's just that simple. If the Warriors have a tough night from the floor, the Heat are absolutely going to be in this game, and you might even like them plus 7.5, whatever they were getting this morning. Ray, look that up.
I am.
But
you're on a heater. Go.
It's more important. It's more important to get a good night out of young players that builds upon them becoming better players than it is to beat the Miami Heat tonight. It is. It's more important to do that.
Yes and no. And by that I mean if they're doing the things that they're supposed to do, they'll win. See that
Right,
winning
it
is
takes
not
care of itself.
Yeah, winning is not unimportant here, but it's not vital. I mean, it's not if they lose tonight. Oh my God, the wheels have come off and they're heading into the ditch. But you learn through habits and getting success for those habits, and that's why winning does matter. It's not, they're not going to play Curry 43 minutes tonight in search of beating the Heat. That's not what we're talking about.
We're not chasing wins?
No, but these are wins that are easily attainable. I mean, Miami's a good team, but they're playing them at home. And they'll play them again in a couple of weeks. So it's not,
next week.
Never say winning's not important. Not to Steve Kerr, not to Bob Myers, not to Stephen Curry. But in October, it's not the only thing. But you don't do that by, letting young guys have more minutes than they've shown they can competently use.
Process matters. Process matters.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
not just results. Process matters. By the way, Heat at Warriors tonight. When Ray and I are done 40 minutes from now, our friend, your friend, a trusted agent indeed, John Dickinson is getting you ready from Chase Center tonight with Warriors pregame at 6:30. Tim Roy takes over. 7 o'clock tip-off tonight. Remember, Heat and Warriors, this was, 3 buckets away from being last year's NBA Finals. Remember, the Celtics won Game 7 in Miami by 6 points? Whatever it was just a couple of buckets. So Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals could have easily spit out the Miami Heat, and that was your NBA Finals last year. But no, indeed, it was the Celtics. I can tell you this about the Heat. Like the Warriors, they have not exactly picked up right where they left off last year. Jimmy Butler has not busted out of the gates. The offense has been dragged down by a slow start defensively. I heard one person, as I was doing a little research today on this matchup, reading a couple previews, one person was suggesting, hey, maybe the Miami Heat early going here are missing P.J. Tucker. P.J. Tucker was a big part of what Miami did defensively, and I thought to myself for a minute, okay, maybe P.J. Tucker's absence is affecting the Miami Heat. And then I remembered that P.J. Tucker is with the 76ers right now, and what's that doing for their defense? So I don't know if it's really a P.J. Tucker as much as just the Miami Heat aren't off to a great start. Basically, Miami asks itself every night, can Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson hit enough threes to justify guys blowing past them defensively? Because neither one of those guys plays much defense, and Duncan Robinson is not getting many minutes right now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's all early.
And yet, their problem is that they're 27th in offense.
106 points to the Warriors, 125.
Yeah, but they give up 106. So defense as a team is not a problem, but every possession's a slog for them. It's hard for them to get much traction, and they had to fight like hell to win last night, and that was against
Portland.
It was against the Portland team that lost Damian Lillard fairly early on, and now he's out for at least 2 weeks. So Miami's got its own issues, and playing back-to-back isn't going to help solve them.
Here's what the Warriors also have going for them tonight. Tonight's not the night to slow down that pace. Like Steve Kerr said earlier, their pace is almost unsustainable. Well, sustain it for one more night. You're going to want to go ahead and try to run Miami off the floor, only so they're just not setting up their half-court defense, because that's what Miami is best at. And the other thing that Miami does really doesn't play into the game that the Warriors play. Miami is very good protecting the rim. The Warriors really don't play at the rim. So that's another thing they got going for them. Was I right about Miami 7.5, or has that moved?
6.
6. Okay. So money's coming in Miami.
Some of it, sure. I mean, I don't know how much action you get on a West Coast game in late October.
On a back-to-back.
Yeah.
But it was Miami 7.5 this morning. Now it's 6. 7.5 kind of felt like a lot of points. Maybe you'd want to roll with Miami that, but the 6, I think the Warriors cover that.
Yeah, they'll win by 6.5.
I tell you, whoever masters those half-point shots is really going to mess with Vegas.
Well, You've seen Duncan Robinson shoot, so he could do it.
Stephanie in Emeryville. Hello, Stephanie.
Hi. First of all, I wanted to thank you for the conversations that have been going on by all of the fans and the wisdom and the insight that a lot of people are sharing, including you guys saying it's a process. And we here, I lived in Miami before we had a basketball team. And so when the Heat came, everybody was just so happy to have a team and a place to go and to watch basketball. We have a championship winning team and people that are amazing on them. And so having people that are your veterans that can hold that part of the fort down, and then watching people like Kuminga, and this is where I'm going with the Kuminga piece. Jonathan Kuminga, I think people forget where he came from, how he got here, the fact that he is who he is at this age, living in a different country, learning a different language, and everything else. I would like to see him paired, and I'd like your thoughts about having him paired with Wiggs, because I think part of the thing is that when Wiggs was named to the All-Stars, and I called in because everybody was so down on Wiggs, and I championed him because my feelings were that he knew who he was and he needed to be able to step it up and to find a place to come together and gel with the team. And that's what all the tinkering is about. And I think that if we have somebody like Wiggs, where his athleticism paired with JK's athleticism, and he can more watch the game and take pointers from him than have somebody like Dre get in his face. I think that we would see a different kind of resilience come from him, because I think that's what he's looking for. We've asked a lot of him for the changes to be made in how he plays this game and not do as much showboating as everybody was so excited about when he first started doing that. And so I'd like your thoughts about having him paired with somebody like Wiggs, who is more of a...
Well, yeah. So, Stephanie, let me jump in, because it's number one going to be hard to do because they're both power forwards, and there aren't a lot of teams that are throwing two power forwards out there together. But if you did want to talk about what is the most athletic front line that the Warriors could put together, Wiggins, Kuminga, and James Wiseman would be a combo that would be tough to keep up with athletically. The two of them on the court at the same time, I don't know how that would fit. I understand what you're saying in terms of there's an example of how to do it, how to, redefine what people think of you. And I think the best point that you made, Stephanie, is that Jonathan Kuminga is still very much a fish out of water, not just in his NBA life, but in his life. This is a big, whole new world that he's operating in now. And how totally comfortable he is on a day-to-day. I know that the Warriors go way out of their way to make sure that he is. And he seems to be acclimated very, very well. There really is not a language barrier for him, but just how comfortable you are is a question that a lot of 19, 20-year-olds are asked when they take their first big job in a big city that's somewhere else from home.
The other thing, though, that gives me pause is the notion that the Warriors need to prioritize making Kuminga comfortable. And I don't think that's the case. I think what they need to prioritize as it pertains to Kuminga is that they spend time with him in practice and over and over and over again, getting him to be familiar with what they want him to be. And because I'm not at practice, I can't say how that process is going. I only know that, minutes per game says that he's still not trusted with that. So it's not about, let's pair him with this guy and see how it goes. No, it's got to be about whoever you're playing with. You figure out the rotations. You figure out how to get through a screen. You figure out how to block a guy off. all the things that you have to know to survive in the NBA. And that's not about who you're paired with. That's about how well you absorb the lessons they're trying to pound in you in practice.
The most important matchup that Kuminga needs to show the Warriors that he is comfortable with is the guy he's guarding, not who he's playing with.
Yeah, it's just, show us that you can keep your body between the guy with the ball and the basket.
And somebody's like, hey, Damon, Wiggins is most definitely a 3. Yeah, I understand that. But he's also very much most definitely a 4 as well. He's that new position of front court. Andrew Wiggins is a front court player. Is he a 3? Is he a 4? Yes.
He's a 3 offensively, a 4 very often defensively, based on who he guarded in the playoffs. But, we're quibbling about stuff that doesn't matter. It's not about who he's paired with or not paired with. His minutes are going to be his minutes based on what he can bring, not about how he can bring somebody else along. The NBA is not, preschool. It's where big kids wear clothes. That's the deal. Show us what you can do no matter who's on the floor with you. And that's where Jonathan Kuminga is at right now.
I want to turn our attention to Week 8 in the NFL here in just a minute, but a couple more notes for you concerning tonight's game against the Miami Heat. Steve Kerr pregame said that we got bumped minutes for both Klay Thompson and Draymond Green tonight. So obviously their ramp up has gone well enough to where Klay is going to be looking to play around 27 minutes tonight, according to Steve Kerr. Draymond going to be edging 30 minutes tonight. So hopefully that gets the Warriors a bit better defensively than they have been to this point. Steve Kerr also says he plans to keep on using Ty Jerome in the rotation due to the absence of Dante DiVincenzo. And okay, if Moody's tired, I want to see Ty Jerome. But I would like to see, I want to see Moody before. I'd like to see maybe even a little Ryan Rollins before. And I know that Ty Jerome has played in the NBA, but I think the Warriors got other guys that I'd like to see seasoned ahead of Ty Jerome minutes, but here we are.
Well, they're not prioritizing Ty Jerome minutes either. I mean, they're using him when other stuff doesn't work.
Right, but why can't Moses Moody be the guy who you said was having trouble getting minutes based on the glut of players at his position in the
Because
backcourt?
their most important thing is not developing this player or that player. It's developing a style. It's developing a system. And Bob Myers said it today. They're still trying to figure out who they are and who they aren't. It's not like they desperately want Ty Jerome to have 25 minutes a game. It's that they need to see who can do the things they want done now. And it's not just trotting out Moses Moody just to see what he's got. It's show us what you can do. It's earning the minutes. It's not about...
Stop. It's this
Don't
year's...
stop me.
It's this year's Avery Bradley. That's all he is. He's a placeholder until something better comes along.
Okay, well, when that something better comes along, he'll get fewer minutes. But
I'm
for
saying
right
that something
now,
better is probably already here.
maybe not. If he was, he'd be playing. I mean, if it's a process, it means that where somebody is right now may not be where they are in 2 weeks or 4 weeks. Ty Jerome is not a long-term anything. We both agree on that. But it's not just, well, let's give Moses Moody some more minutes, see what happens. That's not how the Warriors do stuff. They say, show us how you earn the minutes that we're ready to give you when you're ready to get them. That's it. It's not about...
What has Ty Jerome shown them?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen enough of him either. But...
He's this year's everybody. He's this year's, we're going to keep making mistakes with that guy. That's who he is. That's who he is. I am very complimentary of the Warriors and how they built their roster, what they're trying to do. I get it. I see the fourth dimension of the three-dimensional, fourth-dimensional chess that they're constantly trying to play. I get it. Enough with the Ty Jerome. Let's be honest. Let's stop. He's this year's Avery Bradley. He's
but
the
it's
mistake.
not about Ty Jerome. It just isn't. I mean, it's not like he's stealing Moses Moody's future away from him. Moses Moody will get more minutes when he shows that he can have more minutes.
I would like to know what Ty Jerome has shown them to where they're absolutely more married to the concept of him coming in to save the Dante DiVincenzo day.
They're not married to that. What they're telling you is we're ready to give Moses Moody more minutes when he shows he can handle them. Ty Jerome is indeed a placeholder. There's no question about that. We're in agreement there. It's philosophically, the Warriors are not going to just say, well, Moody's got a better long-term future than Jerome. Let's just play him more. They believe in you earn the minutes we give you. It's not the other way around.
All right. I think Moses Moody would do better with his minutes tonight. But that's just Steve knows a little bit about the Warriors, so we'll let him.
Just a little bit, though.
We'll let him make the choices.
If he knew more about the Warriors, he wouldn't have to spend time talking to us.
Oh, no, it's just the fun part of the job.
I will be willing to bet you that if he gave us $1 for every minute of fun he's had with us, we'd each have $1.
Oh, more than just 1 minute. We've had some real nice moments. The real nice moments were before.
There you go.
Before
it takes
you
a lot
arrived.
of moments to get to
I talked to Steve Kerr in a bubble bath. Have you ever talked to a coach in a bubble bath?
Were you in the bubble bath with him?
Thank God, no.
Okay, then you weren't there. You just know that he was there, or he says he was there. He might have been lying about that, too.
No, we heard it. There was audible evidence.
All that means he was running water. Doesn't mean he was in a bubble bath.
No, he was definitely splashing, making little circles in the water, just talking to Damon. He was having a great time. Okay. NFL.
Man, you are just making my flesh crawl.
Week 8, it's tonight. It starts, and they are underway, and Tom Brady is leading the Baltimore Ravens 7-3. It is early. It's on Amazon Prime, which, of course, we don't have here at the station. Although, I'm guessing you guys are enjoying it in the studio, right? You could plug.
Are they watching it?
Probably. They got a laptop.
You have the game on in here, yeah.
Why don't you bring it in here?
It's Lucas's laptop.
Well, that's the thing.
Then bring Lucas in here and just make sure he doesn't say anything.
Is there any way that some of that laptop action could hit some of these screens in here? Can we get some hot laptop action? Is what I'm going
Do you have an Amazon
Jordan?
You have an Amazon Prime subscription?
I do. Well, can I pinch off Lucas's at work, or is he not willing to share that?
Well, then you don't have an Amazon Prime to subscribe.
No, I totally do.
Well, then why are you trying to lift his?
Because we're at work.
You can just log into yours on any of those 3 screens in front of you.
No, I can't. I don't think these screens work like that. And this is where all the fun comes from. If I had Amazon Prime up here, I couldn't do this to Ray.
Maximum
You could also go old school football and old school radio and just throw it to this booth and be like, hey, what's going on in the game? Let's get an update. If you want.
Hey, what's going on in the game? Let's get an update.
7-3, and your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are leading with a 1-yard touchdown rush from Leonard Fournette.
See, I just said that, except I didn't give the detail about how the touchdown happened. But thank you very much. I feel informed. How about this? If Tom Brady doesn't win tonight, he will be under 500 after 8 games for the very first time in his entire career. So we'll see, and we'll keep an eye on it so you don't have to. 49ers, obviously, again.
We can't keep an eye on it.
Yeah, no, actually, you're right about that. We will theoretically read from the internet and disseminate information to you as it passes in front of our eyes. Kyle Shanahan, what does it mean to have all those fans down at SoFi, baby?
I mean, I talked about it last year being one of the coolest things I've seen in sports, and home field advantage is a big deal in the NFL because of crowd noise, and when you don't have to worry about that as much on the road, it's huge, and when you actually can get the crowd noise, it doesn't happen very much, but it's a big deal.
Lucas is now standing in the studio holding his laptop up. You're like the Vanna White. You know what I feel like? I feel like what's the show where Meghan Markle
We're not at sea. Keep the screen steady.
What, Meghan Markle opened the suitcase and someone was like, "Yeah, you can be queen." What was that show? She was a model.
No deal?
Huh? Deal or no deal. That's what. Yeah, there you go. I mean, she took the deal, and then she said no deal.
You stand there for 19
minutes. Out of the
minutes.
monarchy.
That's the deal. There's nothing you have to do in the other room. Should we stand there?
Should we just be watching?
Yeah, let's.
Should we just be watching? That's good. No. Stand right there. Stand right there. Stand right there.
That was a magnificent punt that you almost prevented us from seeing.
Lucas, get a little closer to Ray so I can see too.
Yeah, if you did step closer to the window, Grandy could also enjoy this.
We finally discovered something he's useful for. He's a TV stand.
It's like when the replay official comes out with an iPad strapped to his face, and then the other official looks at the official's iPad.
Literally, if you had flatter shoulders, you could hold drinks too.
Be like R2-D2 on Jabba's barge. Do you even get that reference?
Absolutely not.
Do you know what movie or chain of movies R2-D2 or Jabba the Hutt
I presume
is from?
it's Star Wars.
Come on!
But whoever else you were talking about there, I have no knowledge of. No, stop moving that around.
Big game at SoFi, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's in a commercial break, and we're going to be in one soon too, Lucas. So you can vamoose. Thank you very much.
Make him stay.
Do you like that commercial? The Whopper.
It's not about the commercial. It's about making him do what we told him to do.
That thing gets so stuck in my head.
Then it worked.
It did. We're talking about the power of capitalism earlier. Are you shopping yet? Have you already bought your Ray Turn Your Mic On t-shirt on 957thegame./buy me? What's the website's name, Grandy? Grandy, what's the website's name that we're
957thegameshop.com.
957thegameshop.com. Don't spell shop with an E. You're not in some charming old English town. It's a good old-fashioned American shop.
Yeah.
I will get through the rest of NFL Week 8 interest. We will spare you any Thinking Man's Thursday because there's one or two other things that I want to get to, including some aggressive marketing that has come out ahead of the World Series. So don't you move. It's Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game. And remember, stay tuned because coming up next after we get off the air, your friend, our friend, John Dickinson is giving you a little Warriors pregame starting at 6 o'clock tonight live from Chase Center here on 95.7 The Game.
Brought to you by On Deck Small Business Loans.
When you own a small business, sometimes you need funds fast. So go to OnDeck.com, America's largest online small business lender. OnDeck makes it easy to apply in minutes. Apply for your loan today at OnDeck.com.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for just $49.99 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Offer ends 12/5/2022. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable based on Root Metrics US report. Results vary, not an endorsement.
The Eagles Hotel California Tour.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
Live in concert with a full orchestra. Performing their iconic album Hotel California, beginning to end, plus a greatest hit set. The Eagles.
One of these nights.
SAP Center at San Jose, February 21st. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop. It really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
At BMW of Fairfield, our guests work with one client advisor through the entire transaction. No handoffs to multiple car salesmen. No waiting for a finance manager to take you to a back room. Client advisors at BMW of Fairfield are thoroughly trained in every aspect of the process, so they can lead you efficiently and effectively through the purchase from start to finish. There is a better way. Experience it for yourself at BMW of Fairfield. One price, one person, 1 hour.
Not sure how much you know about Progressive Insurance. You may know us for insuring your home and auto. You may know a couple of our commercials. But what you may not know is that since 2013, Progressive has been honoring veterans with vehicle donations through the annual Keys to Progress Veteran Vehicle Giveaway Program, giving back to those who gave so much. Now, you probably didn't wake up today saying, I really wish I knew more about Progressive Insurance, but this seemed like the type of thing people wouldn't mind hearing about. Find out more about how we're dedicated to our customers and communities at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
You might not have the biggest garage on the block, but with eBay Motors, there's 122 million parts right at your fingertips. Whatever you need, there's something that fits your vehicle. Air filters, tires, seat covers, and more. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Here's what happened today on The Game. Presented by the County of Santa Clara. The Morning Roast from 6 to 9.
There was a 3 seed last year. Does anybody remember that? And everyone's oh my God, Memphis has home court in the second round. I don't care.
Willard and Dibbs from 9 to noon.
If McCaffrey doesn't redo his deal, start reasoning and reckoning with the idea that Brandon Ayuk will not be back.
Steiny and Guru from noon to 3.
Are we seeing the real George Kittle? And I'm not mad if we are about, you know what, damn it, I need to be used more.
And Damon and Ratto from 3 to 6.
So people need to calm down just a little bit.
They need to calm down a lot, but they won't.
Well, that's why we're here. We are here to make a better, more rational, more functioning sports fan.
The best of the game, presented by the County of Santa Clara. Book a COVID-19 booster shot now at sccfreevax.org or call 211. Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game.
All right, well, let's start with a thank you to George Sedano for joining us from Los Angeles in our first hour. We talked to him about, we went over the Warriors and Heat. We talked about the 49ers and the Rams. We touched on the Lakers. We went around the block with George Sedano. Always good to have him on. Thanks so much to Lucas for coming in here and being our Thursday night football version of Vanna White. We actually saw a few plays. I know Ray would like you back in here, Lucas. You have very important work to do at this point in the show, I'm guessing.
It's commercial again anyways.
Okay, fair enough.
He has no idea. He's not doing anything in there. Are you kidding?
He
could hold a potted palm and be of more use.
How often do you think 49er fans actually get to root for the New York Giants. It feels like a bridge that is rarely crossed throughout the history of professional football.
I think when the circumstances are right, they would.
They're right this week. If you are a 49er fan, by definition, you are a New York Giants fan this week because they're at the Seahawks in what is oddly one of the games of the weekend. Nobody saw New York Giants at Seattle as like a really big game in Week 8, but indeed it is. You have two first-place teams. You have 6-1 versus 4-3. Something's gotta give.
I hope it's a scoreless tie.
Green Bay Packers are a 10.5-point underdog at Buffalo in Week 8. Aaron Rodgers has never been a double-digit underdog in his entire career. I guess since we're having a little gamblor going right there, I need to tell you that tomorrow at 4:15, Joe Fortenbaugh for a little Fortenbaugh Friday. We'll give you the Fortin nuts of the information you need to go and gamble correctly this weekend. By the way,
are we calling that fading the Joe?
No, we will listen to the Joe. We will fade the public. But Fade the Public did take a loss for the very first time. Fade the Public is now 3-1. We decided to back the Chargers -5, and again got undone by these damn Seattle Seahawks. So,
well, you got undone by the Chargers.
Well,
they're the worst close game team in football.
We're not allowed to blacklist teams from this, are we? Because if we can, they'd be off of it, and so would the Broncos.
Nope. This is the beauty of Fade the Public Friday.
Yeah.
We don't pick the line. We don't pick the team. We don't pick the setting. We don't pick the location. We don't pick the circumstances that any of these games are being played in. Fading the public is the only priority when it comes to making this bet. So if the number spits out Los Angeles Chargers again, so be it.
Yeah, and get back in here and be the furniture you were meant to be.
Bears at Cowboys. Again, I don't know if this thing got more interesting based on what happened on Monday night. It feels like the Dallas defense should absolutely own the evening against the Chicago Bears. And the Bears just moved one of their best defensive players to the Eagles. Robert Quinn is gone. So that feels like an awful lot of Dallas coming for the Chicago Bears. Patriots at the Jets. Bill Belichick, does he have a quarterback controversy? Could you even pretend to care, Ray Ratto?
I can pretend to care, but that's what all it would be. It was a pretense. And he's already decided that it's going to be Mac Jones anyway.
But Mac Jones, let's say 3 and out, a pick. Zappy?
Maybe, but as of right now, Bill Belichick knows what he wants to do.
The Lions.
Come on, Dees. Dees nuts.
Yes. The Detroit Lions.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
That might be a lie because the Lions are desperately seeking their second win of the season, which would be twice the number of ass cheeks that has been threatened by their head coach, whose name is escaping me right now.
Campbell.
Dan Campbell, thank you very much.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
He and their general manager just got votes of confidence from Sheila Ford Hamp, who is the owner of the team. They're doomed.
That is, what do you call it? The
kiss of death.
Yeah, but how do you say it in Spanish to sex it up? Make it sexier.
I don't know. Lucas, come in here. Say
Beso de
something in
muerto?
Spanish.
Smuche de muerto.
Beso de muerte? Muerto?
I don't know.
Sure.
We're asking 4 people who don't speak the language to speak the language. That's not insulting at all.
Raiders at the Saints. Nothing wrong with trying, Ray. Raiders at the Saints. Raiders have not won a road game this season. The Saints have only won once at home this season. There's a something's got to give. Let's see. Eagles, they're looking to go 7-0 against the Steelers. And by the way, the Phillies start the World Series in Houston tomorrow night. The only thing I can tell you is that they're probably, at best, coming out of Houston split, right? Nobody's beaten Houston yet this year. There is a chance Philadelphia could go back to Philadelphia for Game 3, down 0-2. Either way, you are going to have a drunk and pissed off city of Philadelphia greeting the Steelers at that Eagles game because of whatever the Phillies might do. I'm just going to say, good luck, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think most Eagles games have that feature permanently provided by the citizens of Philadelphia, but I don't like the Phillies' chances because Jay Jaffe of Fangraphs pointed out that all of a sudden this year, after a couple of years where starting pitchers don't seem to matter that much, now they're mattering a great deal again because teams have shortened their bullpens, and Houston's got way better starting pitching.
It's amazing how starting pitching matters in games that matter.
Yeah.
How about that?
Exactly. I mean,
bake that into your analytics and metrics.
Yeah. And Justin Verlander's been so good, he should win both leagues at Cy Youngs.
He's been awesome. He's the fourth oldest starting pitcher in World Series history going this weekend, I think behind Roger Clemens, Pedro, and Early Wynn or something like that.
Yeah, well, Early Wynn pitched for 100 years, so yeah.
About 100 years ago. So, having said all that, the city of Philadelphia is either going to be incredibly hungover or in a big lather.
Incredibly hungover.
Yeah, it'll just have kept going at that point, or it's going to come crashing down, and then you're going to have the angriest Link you've seen in a while. So it's going to be a long day for the Steelers is my underwriting point.
The only thing that's in question at this point is whether the cops are going to have to grease the light poles in Philadelphia. You know that they bought more grease for that.
I'm so glad that you brought that up because, Ray, they didn't need to buy the grease. They've been gifted lube. The adult website Cam Soda, which lets you into a world of peep shows and cam girls, is getting involved in the World Series, even though the World Series doesn't want them to be a sponsor. They're getting involved in Philadelphia's end of it anyways. The website, knowing that the city of Philadelphia has greased up light poles in the past, has sent 10 50-gallon drums of lube to the city of Philadelphia to help manage that rowdy crowd around the light poles.
But do we know if the city of Philadelphia is going to use them?
Either way.
It sounds like a scandal waiting to be unearthed.
So what you're saying is you want physical evidence of 10 50-gallon drums of lube.
I don't. What I
want to see the lube, Ray. Show me the lube. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I want to see is the city of Philadelphia not use them because if they do, somebody's going to lose their job.
Would you just please say, show me the lube so we can make that into a T-shirt?
Absolutely not. You own that one.
Sports don't build character. They reveal it.
And like that,